Well, I mean, Kirby is just always been just a pink blob, though. You know, like that's just kind of what he brings to the table.
Like Toon Link is the Mario version, like is you know what I mean? Like it's so matching, you know.
I guess.
Like the cartoon kind of it.
If you're gonna have Link, why would you need Toon Link?
Yeah, they're just cool to have. Like, don't you remember the trophies were in Smash Bros. Melee? Man,
I get it. A lot of them are cool. Actually, the only one I take issue with is Kirby.
No, I know, sure. Like,
seems out of place.
Is Kirby's a girl? No.
I think Kirby's a boy.
No, I don't.
I'm pretty sure Kirby's a boy.
You can't do too many poses with him, so whatever. And you don't ever see the bottom of his feet. So.
Now we do.
And you know why they're all like weird? Like with these things?
Well, those were created later, right?
Yeah, like the amiibos were thrown on to Smash Bros. After, so they didn't want to change their poses in the game or whatever. Or the
I
renders.
don't understand why couldn't they just spend different poses?
They rendered all these poses and they were all in the game, and like they didn't want to switch them out with different poses.
Some of them look fine like that, but some of them
are some of them are kind of normal like that.
Link especially is. Really
but then you don't want all just standing there and doing like just things with their arms only. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of cool to do some stuff.
It's cool. I feel like that's kind of a shortcut still, but
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
It's like this whole background of me with the systems and the games. It's like the photo of the old game, and then I have the trophies right in front.
Yeah,
similar.
It makes sense. I just
man, you just see it. Yeah, I bought a few, right, and then I was at the store, and then I saw Bowser.
And you bought a few more.
No, I saw Bowser, and like man, these things are always sold out all the time. So I was like, yeah, I'm buying these then. You know what I mean? If you go there, all you can find is Kirby, Yoshi, and like Peach and Mario. You can't really find Link. You can't find it anymore, so that's good about that. Ike is come and gone.
Is he?
Don't you wish you had an Ike? You know?
I wish I had a Mars. I'll tell you that right now.
No, it's not about using it. They're just collectibles now. They're not about.
I know, but unless I'm going to have that many, it doesn't make sense.
So you're saying that
if you're going to have a bookshelf or shelves to display stuff, why not have those in one portion of it?
I love that Jeremy's like always like his excuse for buying lots of things is because what if you have a bookshelf?
Everyone has a bookshelf.
It's always like imagine a bookshelf. It's like that's how you start to imagine a bookshelf.
Yeah, all the cool things on it. You don't just want like plain.
How many bookshelves do you own?
I don't know. I got quite a few. I got 2 on each end here. I have a bunch downstairs. I'm probably gonna move all this down there at some point.
How's the basement coming?
It's fine. It's already finished. It's just I kind of want to paint it and stuff and add some shelves.
Shelves and bookshelves.
And couches. I got my couches for down there.
The shelves is going to be separate from the bookshelves.
Oh, okay, no, it's different shelves. You can have a wall shelf.
Just more shelving.
I actually built the shelf. You want to see it?
What? Yeah.
Yeah, let's go right now.
Oh. Okay, how long are you guys gonna be?
2 minutes.
Okay, well I'll hold the line then for a little bit. I'll just hold on while we're. It's okay. We don't have any listeners yet anyway. You can have a wall shelf. All right. Well, I'm just sitting here by myself, listening to this our own stream. Nothing going on. Waiting for my friends to return. From the basement is where they are. And I come to the show. It's the show that we're watching now. Welcome to the show. I am singing a song. It's not a very good one, but I'm singing it nonetheless. Welcome to the show.
Jesus Christ. Don't do that.
I was just singing.
No, I said don't do that.
Well, you can't tell me what to do. Jeremy, did you watch all the Oscars last night? Did you watch any of the Oscars?
Yeah, I did. So like,
Boom.
Good. At least someone did.
It's better for conversation when you can see it, you know?
Yeah. I agree. So Dana's like, I'm like, Dana, watch him. He's like, no. Why
Well,
would
I
why
did have
would
enough
I?
time. I got together some images that
That's all we were talking about.
I can throw on the TV while we talk.
Yeah.
So like, I have like a traditional Aquaman, and then the Hook Aquaman, and then Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Like images of all three.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll send them, and I'll put them into the thing.
No. It's not about that. It's just for us so we can look at them and dissect
if
them
you're doing
easier.
a live feed.
We are doing it live. We're live now.
No, we're not.
There's no. Yes, we are. We're doing the live
We're
pre-show.
starting at 7:30.
Pre-show. Pre-show's already started. Full show starts in 15 minutes. But
There's-
don't worry. No, there's no one. There's no one. There's just myself.
Yeah, I did see this.
It's good. Look at it looks kind of weird though. Like the two dude, the chick and the dude up top.
Yeah, like, they might as well not be there.
It's super comic booky, which is cool. But yeah,
ish. I don't know.
Some look kind of out of place.
The Hulk looks weird in that.
Yeah.
Oh, the new
The poster.
poster.
Captain America looks sick.
Okay, but go up. What do you think that yellow cape is? That the Vision?
It's Vision.
For sure, the Vision.
120%. Like
That's
what?
not even
absolutely
possible.
it is. Well, what is your
The rest are just other Ultron robots.
I guess so. Yeah. Pretty much.
Where's Spider-Man?
He's not in it. I wonder if they'll film something like teasing Spider-Man.
I feel like they'll do like an after credit scene or something like that.
Yeah,
Just
but
to just hype it up.
What they're going to tease at the after credit scene is probably Civil War, which I think would be cooler because
So
that's
they can replace
Civil
Black
War is
Panther
basically an
Spider-Man?
Avengers movie. Like that's good. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a Captain America movie.
I know, but I'm saying that's what I'm saying. That everyone knows that, but it's basically an Avengers.
Well,
movie.
it's him and Iron Man. The rest of them won't be a big part of it, I don't think.
I think they might pop in there.
We'll see. I
And then
mean, in
Spider-Man's
the
in
book, it's completely different, but in the book, Hulk
Yeah,
and
they
Thor are not
change-
part of it, but
well,
they
they
won't
change-
do it like that.
Yeah, no, they definitely changed it a lot. Look at Vision and Ultron. Like that's changed lots.
I don't know. I have a feeling after this movie, Ultron's going to kind of go away, but not be dead.
Well, you can't get rid of any. There's no way to get rid of.
I think they will though because they're doing a 2-part right after this. What's called
Thanos.
Infinity
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet.
Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like that's the end of these
So-
actors' run.
Well, the thing is, that has nothing to do with Ultron, right? And you think they're just going to kill all?
No, I mean
Ultron
like
in this
after
movie?
those 2 parts, after all those single movies and Black Panther, all
Yeah,
comes
we
out,
lose a few
like,
actors.
that's the end of like the 3 phases of Marvel Phase 1 type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then there's a new phase with new cast with the same characters or some of them. That way, Captain America can die, and like all these storylines don't have to keep repeating, and villains don't always have to come back. They can just kind of kill them off and not have to bring them back in
guess.
a comic book way.
I'm just more used to Ultron being, kind of a perennial threat. Like he'll pop up. He
Yeah, like
downloaded
Loki.
or uploaded his consciousness into a satellite
Yeah,
somewhere,
like
and then he
Loki.
just appears somewhere else.
Loki's never going to die or go away.
Yeah. But that's true. Like Infinity War won't have anything to do with Ultron,
Yeah.
or Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I feel like they might be just for this movie and gone.
I just for some reason like it clicked in my mind that I think everyone is done after the second part of that movie.
And then what?
I think like it's going to be Kevin Feige's phase 2 of 10 or whatever. You know what I mean? With a new cast.
Why is
They-
that?
they're not going to
So
do it forever.
if you're doing like a, well, okay, they've already done phase 1, 2, and 3. So
And
then
what
you
did
do,
they
like a
include-
stage 2?
and what
like,
did
you
they-
reset actors? You reset storylines?
Yeah,
as
like
well?
what did the phase 1 include already? Everyone's origin
Yeah.
plus the second movie,
Yeah.
plus the third movie for Iron Man. Avengers 1 already happened.
That's
That was-
1 and 2, right? Because Iron Man 3 came out after Avengers. Avengers was the end of phase 1.
No, right,
And-
and like Captain America is Winter Soldier, and he's gonna have
Yeah.
Civil War. There's no other crazy Captain America story that we need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's still there. Like he needs to be there.
No, I know he's gonna be there. I'm saying
different actor
different actors because this whole first phase, like all the stuff they've been doing, is like the quintessential Avengers stuff.
Yes.
The Avengers 1 with Loki the villain and that what they called the villains, the aliens.
Chitauri?
Yeah, Chitauri. Like that's kind of cool, whatever. And then they're going into Ultron, and then they're gonna do Infinity War, which is arguably like one of the biggest Marvel stories ever.
It's so weird that they teased they teased Thanos right at the beginning, and then they're just skipping over him for so long.
Yeah.
You know,
but I don't believe that was the original plan. I feel like they wanted to do it earlier, and then they're like,
oh no, I'm sure they.
I don't know. They're pretty good at planning though, so you gotta give.
I know, but it's just such a weird thing to tease at the end of that.
When they started making Iron Man, they weren't planning for all this shit to happen, right? So it started happening, and they made Avengers. They teased that, and then it got so big that they're like, okay, let's put it off for a bit, make it a trilogy. It's a better number.
And now they're getting Spider-Man, and then Infinity is gonna even. It's 2 parts.
It's gonna be weird because Ultron feels out of place and all that. He's not as connected to the rest of everything.
Right.
And also, I'm really like, what is Ant-Man gonna do? This Ant-Man.
He's not. Apparently, Whedon gave a reason why he's not in Avengers 2, but I didn't read it. I just said the title was Whedon explains why he's not in Avengers 2, and then I didn't see the rest of it.
Well, it's weird because he's also the second Ant-Man, right? Like that means the first Ant-Man had already been operating for a while. And
yeah, but like he's
it's
so small.
It's on a slower base, like a more low key type thing.
Low key or low key?
Low key. Like it wasn't like he stopped some invasion in New York.
Well, sure. So you can kind of say that the first Ant-Man was more of a scientist than an Avenger.
Yeah,
right?
he was maybe more of a spy type thing, right? Like he used his powers for that.
It's weird having all the stuff already there that we haven't mentioned him at all, and then now it's supposed to be a part of the universe that we've, it's just.
I guess my point is that once those movies come out, like how many Marvel movies is that?
Well, yeah.
At that point, is that like 20? Like I don't even know.
It's a lot. But also, they have plans up until 2021 or something like that.
Yeah, but they're not saying anything after. Basically, they're not going to announce any Avengers plans after that because they're not going to sign Robert Downey Jr. probably again after those.
What is the point of making an Inhumans movie if you're not going to continue after that? Because an Inhumans throw-off movie.
To be fair, Dan, they're doing Inhumans now.
I just think everything's going to be recasted and like. Not even a reboot. Like it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Like 100%, just like James Bond, like they said before. Because they keep saying James Bond stuff, which is hinting at the future, not just for Iron Man, but for everybody.
Yeah.
And so this huge thing that we've been doing since 2000 whatever is kind of coming to a close at the end of the second part of Infinity War. What are these actors going to do after that? What do they want to do after that? No, they're going to be recast.
Well, some of them want out already, yeah.
Yeah,
some want out, and some tried to do stuff like Chris Hemsworth did Black Hat. Show how well that turned out for him.
I don't think necessarily they want out. They just don't want to be like. I think they enjoy doing these films. I don't think they want out.
Well, Chris Evans wants out.
I don't know, man.
But also because he wasn't paid as much as anybody else. Right?
I know, but every interview I've said, it's been like the opposite. I've never heard him say he's done with it. And then Robert Downey Jr. says, like, as long as they keep writing good ones, he says more weird things than anybody. Yeah, like the world they've built up until now, and after all these movies they've announced, like they announced how many, like 10 just now?
Some
now, but like recently.
Yeah, it's up until like 2020 or 2021 or something like that.
Guardians 2, Black Panther, Miss Marvel, Thor 3, Cap 3, like it's so much stuff. Yeah. And all these characters, it's like their third movie, right? As opposed to
the main ones.
And, to like a beginning, middle, and end for them. And Infinity War is like kind of an end,
Well, that's an end for the Avengers. And
but I'm not saying it's just symbolic end to what they've done and what, how far they've gone.
What's the total? Julie, do you have the total?
Okay. I got myself a beer. Coronas.
Because I remember Samuel Jackson had signed up for something like 20 movies.
He's got like 2 left.
I just want to know what he's at,
And that's what
they just updated that, didn't they? They just told us how many he has left because some didn't count and whatever.
And it's also more cohesive. Like say Infinity Gauntlet is like the last for all of them. Then it's more cohesive that they all made it to that point. Yeah. Then they recast everyone after that. You know what I mean?
Like maybe there's some sort of like reality shift, and then everybody's different. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'll go that far.
Well.
I think it's a long time.
You gotta kind of address it.
It's a long time until Infinity Part 2 and like Sony movie come in between. So when stuff is going to happen, I feel like...
No, but if you're doing that reset, you have to address it in some capacity.
No, that's also what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like I'm kind of predicting this, you know? No one really realizes this. They're just like, sweet, more and more and more. But an end has to come to something, you know, at some point. And that seems like a fitting end for this phase, you know, this big phase 1, you call it. Like, all of this stuff with these actors.
Okay, alright, let's see here. It's 8:22.
Got that part there for you.
7 minutes.
Wow.
Does this remind you of Game of Thrones, though? Yeah, look at the one with the tattoos, eh?
Tattoos are a bit weird.
He has actual tattoos, though. Like, he has real tattoos on him.
No, but not these ones.
Not the ones on his chest and torso.
There's one on his arm that I think they're keeping.
They're fine. The armor looks sick.
I think
and the hair, and like he looks like...
Look at this one.
Exactly. He's like half barbarian, half king.
He's kind of like more like Conan.
52.
Oh wait, he did that already.
Look forward to an incarnation.
Like clean shaven. Nah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I just was, but with the time with Game of Thrones and like the that grittiness that people are liking these days, and like Dungeons and Dragons and like those games, like this is where it's at now, right? So,
makes more sense.
And
especially because dealing with like the Superman and Batman of this universe, Batman has been around for a while. Aquaman has to be also that kind of grizzled. He's been doing this in the ocean for a while, and nobody knows whatever, and he has no respect for the the air breathers.
That's not what they call.
I'm sure they'll whip out a suit.
Land dwellers.
Like something like that. At some point.
You know, the Atlanteans can breathe air too.
No.
Yeah.
You know what was stupid in that the Aquaman animated movie?
What?
Is that Superman and Wonder Woman didn't need any breathing apparatuses underwater?
Yeah, that didn't make... Yeah, well...
Makes zero sense. Sure, they're superhuman or whatever, but they need still need to breathe.
I'm pretty sure it makes sense for Superman, not Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but like...
Even then it does make sense, because,
he would still go unconscious, I feel, and then like... You wouldn't die or anything, but like you'd be unconscious if he, trying to breathe.
Yeah, like what about him being like Kryptonian makes him ability to breathe underwater?
Yeah,
I'm sure he has an extra skill set that they'll just.
he's got enough powers already.
He doesn't have gills, and he talks, and it sounds completely normal. So if you don't have gills, your only air intake is through the pieces that you talk with, right?
And then Batman, meanwhile, only has this like one little mask over between his cowl.
And same with Cyborg and Green Lantern makes sense because he just has the aura around him.
Yeah, but even Cyborg makes sense because he doesn't even have any real lungs left. Remember?
I think I put it on the stick.
It's on there. I just haven't watched it.
What about the Blu-ray for it? I almost have every DC animated feature.
Which ones are you missing?
Just a few. I don't even know. But I watched the special features on the latest one, and like I don't know if you know, but like they announced like they basically do 2 DC movies a year that are
in continuity.
and the third like weird one.
Yeah.
And the third weird one this year, Bruce Timm is doing it.
What's it called? Is it that really kiddie one, like with the animals, like animals?
No, I don't think it's that one. The guy said like there's a special feature where they had the interview of not the Comic-Con panel, and he said Bruce Timm is coming back for the odd feature this year. I don't know which one it is though.
Well, I hope it's something like very Batman centric.
Of course.
I mean, because really, I don't have to hope that hard because it probably will be.
They gotta do like Cyborg and stuff for like leading up to Justice League.
Cyborg's getting his own comic book.
Yeah, whatever.
Kids don't care about that.
Wonder Woman too. They gotta do because I think she's probably gonna be pretty prominent in Dawn of Justice. Not like a lot, but like for the other members who are showing up. Yeah. Obviously, I don't think this is.
Yeah, well, like what's his role gonna be in Dawn of Justice?
Whose?
Him.
Aquaman.
I don't know.
It's just they're just gonna.
He's just gonna show up and
like it could be like a cheesy way, like someone like the president's talking about like a speech about like these not Inhumans but like superheroes kind of and there's like clips of every hero in their own habitat like doing stuff kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I always thought the thing with Wonder Woman was that she was gonna be a part of the world. Like
I think she is because
And then do you think would they not go the same way with Aquaman? Make him just like some dude who's kind of doing recon?
I don't think he would though, just based on that look.
Well, the whole thing is like he's not the king right now, right? He's just some dude.
It just seems like he doesn't give a shit. Like he looks so like.
You guys are inferring a lot from this picture.
Yeah, well,
Well,
look
it's
at his
complete
face.
opposite of
Look at
this.
his fucking face.
This guy looks like he has a sense of duty and like he's just very royal. You know what I mean?
Regal, yeah.
Definitely does have
That
duty.
like I kind of want to see that in the movie incarnation, but this one makes
That's
sense.
just because he has blonde hair.
Yeah,
Oh.
does that bug you guys? He doesn't have blonde
It's like
hair.
that king mentality, like the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
King
He's
mentality.
standing up straight. The other
You know?
one's kind of crouching.
Yeah,
All right, he's like leaning in. He's brooding.
like this would be what's the main house in Game of Thrones? Like the
There's not really.
Well, the one this would be most closely resembled to is Targaryen, right? Like,
I guess that one too. Yeah, like this one is.
that one's what? Baratheon, probably.
Yeah.
are you are you
Yeah,
comparing?
he's in Game of Thrones.
Are you choosing which picture of Aquaman is more closely related to which house in Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Yes,
an easy-
that's what just happened.
Easy way to compare it to something.
Well,
I don't
yeah, it's good. No, it's good. That's a good
He's
thing.
probably more a Northman than anything else. He looks more wild in this picture than anything.
Yeah.
And then in the other one, yeah, Targaryen.
You can see his
are
belt there. He's got the
Blonde of hair.
That's good. And then the pants, like they look like maybe like a leathery, like fish scale type thing.
Scale.
And
I
they kind of look greenish a little bit, but maybe that's just my eyes like trying to convince
Nah,
myself.
It's just the same. No, they kind of do, but like all the colors are so muted in all those
That's
pictures.
it, yeah. They did the gold there a little bit, and I guess it's kind of orangey, but not really.
Yeah,
Some
it's,
of
it's
those
not
look-
over the top.
This
yeah.
could be edited though, but some of them look kind of like coppery, right? So copper is kind of an orange metal. You
It's
can
got like
say,
a
right?
brownish tinge.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the intro music in a second, in about 1 minute, and then you guys aren't gonna be able to hear it. But then just be like when I say, just shut up for a minute, and then or like 20 seconds, and then
What does that
start
mean,
talking.
though?
What beep? You hear beep? I don't hear no beep.
No, what does that? What does that mean? Why are we doing that?
So I'm gonna because it's a live show, so they're not gonna. I usually edit it in the intro music later, so I'm gonna put it in now. You know, it's the behind the scenes stuff.
So we're starting right now.
We're gonna start in like 30 seconds.
Oh, you said we already started too.
No, I said well we were doing.
But
the
no one's
pre-show.
listening.
That was the pre-show.
But no one's listening.
What you gotta start somewhere, Jeremy.
No, I'm just asking a question.
I'm looking. Hold on, let me look. One, I think it's just me that's watching. It's just one watching now. I think that's probably me.
What, is it probably?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it
super
counts.
you?
I don't know if it counts yourself. Like, if you're have the window open, is that count yourself? Because if that's the case, then it's just me. If it's me, if it doesn't count myself, then there's someone else. But it's probably just me. I don't know how that works. But it's 8:30, so I'm going to start the show. Okay.
7:30.
Well, it depends on where you are. Hey guys, welcome to the Tower of Babble Podcast, episode 50. This one is live. We're live on YouTube Live right now. If you are listening live, or are about to tune in to us, it doesn't really make any sense, really, because if you're not listening, you can't hear me. But if you are listening, you're already here. The point is, we're live, and it's okay. It's rough. It's our first time. But it's the first of many, and that's okay. As always, I'm Julian. I'm joined by Jeremy.
Hey.
Daniel.
What's up?
I gave you the chance. I gave you the chance this time to copy Jeremy by going to him first, and you didn't take it. I was really hoping you would. Anyway, I'm really excited to be live here. I mean, this is our first one, so next week, you'll definitely know, even though we've been teasing it for a while, but you'll definitely know that we'll be doing it every time. It'll definitely follow us on Twitter at Tower of Babble Podcast. That's where you'll find out all the information as when exactly we'll be recording each show. That's your best place, at Tower of Babble Cast on Twitter. Or follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Tower Babble Cast. That's the other best place. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, we've missed 3 weeks, so there's a lot to cover. We took a break so we could make sure that we got this exactly right, but I obviously didn't practice my intro. So let's start with what happened most recently. So today, recording Tuesday, the Oscars are on Sunday. So I watched the full thing. I started at like an hour before with the red carpet stuff, even though that started an hour before I started watching, and watched all the way through to the end. Kind of like tuning in and out, like my attention span anyway. Dan, you didn't watch it at all, right?
Nope.
Jeremy, you watched it.
Yeah, I was kind of tuning in and out during the whole thing, but yeah, I watched it.
Right, because it's like it's 3.5 hours, right? Like that's a lot of.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, and it's like not a lot of excitement for a lot of it too. Like it's not like it's like riveting television, really.
But I mean, it's a Sunday night. You're going to work the next day. Like you're not going to be doing anything crazy. Like everyone sits down on a Sunday and they relax. So
exactly,
I think it's the perfect time.
So
you don't relax?
I work this Sunday.
Yeah, but you get off at 6.
Sorry?
You get up at 6 though.
Yeah, and then I have to work the next day.
Exactly. So you get home and relax, and people relax.
Hell
They either talk to their family or watch a show.
Hell's no.
They show.
Well, I mean,
and it's an event basically.
It's for some people this is their favorite night of the year. For they like to watch. They like to pay attention to the fashion, what people are wearing. I don't care about that personally. But
so like, you got home and you just slept.
Watching Spartacus actually.
Okay, so you chose to watch something.
Yeah, I chose to watch something I'm actually more interested in.
Okay, that's fine. So
you're
that's
actually more interested in rewatching something you've already seen.
With my girlfriend, then watch.
Okay.
Absolutely. Actually, I don't think I've ever watched a full Oscars. I'm pretty sure.
That's fair. I think this might be my first full one, but I've definitely for at least the last 5 years, at least seen parts of it. Live.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I mean, it's the more I get into what we're doing, and especially since we started the podcast, was it almost a year and a half ago, that it's just like I'm more interested in that side of things, and in these films that aren't as popular mainstream now than I ever have been before. So I'm more invested in this now than I ever have been. So it's an easier sell, at least for myself, to say, okay, sit down, relax, and make a bowl of popcorn or two because it's 3.5 hours long, but that's okay because you're gonna see some cool moments, even though there wasn't really that many. Which brings me to asking you guys, how did you, or Jeremy, I guess, how did you like the show itself?
I thought it was alright.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I felt. Daniel obviously has nothing to add here.
Wait, can I ask you guys something? How did you like the Oscars last year?
I barely remember, actually.
It's the same when you watch a show.
Yeah, but
it's just that whole live event mindset where all the people in Hollywood matter are there, and you want to see how they look, what they're doing, what they're talking about, if they're promoting anything, what they feel about other movies, other actors. That's just cool to me.
Yeah, and you see them when they're not promoting a new film, right?
Yeah.
They're not. Every time you see an actor, usually it's in an interview at a junket, and they're asked about some movie, whatever they're doing. This is more like who they normally are, even though it is somewhat, they're still putting on an act to some degree.
Yeah.
But
just cool to see them interact with each other.
Yeah, that's.
They don't act with each other in the movies,
Yeah, because then they're friends. A lot of them are friends. They're all rich in Hollywood. I mean, they go to each other's parties and
And everyone likes celebrities, no matter you can say you don't, but it's just they're fascinating people. You know what I mean? Look at I know a lot of females they watch TMZ and read those magazines. That's their number one hobby is celebrities. You know what I mean? Guys on the other hand, I don't think it's not like that. We don't just look just for the celebrities. We look for their work and what they do. So for me, it's just cool to kind of see them all together, grouped at a huge event, celebrating their works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, again, the show itself wasn't super entertaining, but like you said, it's the other stuff that makes it just exciting.
Well, the host was funny.
You thought, okay, so this is something it was kind of I live tweeted the whole thing. By the way, next year I'll probably do it again. I was using the Tower of Babble Podcast thing to do it, and I had a great time live tweeting it. Every time a actor who played a superhero came on, I was like, because they kept taking these shots at superhero movies. I was like, hey, it's blah blah blah. Or I mentioned I was like, there's 3 Batmans on stage over the night.
Yeah, you missed one though.
No, there's 3 over the night.
You didn't say hey, there's Black Adam.
I know. Oh yeah, I missed. Were you following that, or
I looked it up, yeah.
Okay, no, but were you following my thing?
No, I wasn't following it. Everyone live tweets. I'm not gonna,
No, I know that. I'm just saying that how did you know I missed that one?
because I went back and looked at it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I did miss that one. You're right. Shit. But like I said, 3 Batmans, and like anyway, I thought I had a great time. That part of that. Another part of what makes Oscars so much fun is the like meta side of it, like the following what people you follow on Twitter, like that are close to the film industry, or people that you respect their opinions and what they have to say. Like Kevin Smith had a lot of good insights during the show.
And sometimes they'll answer fans and stuff, and cool conversation can arise from that.
Absolutely. I mean, like, and so you're back to what you're saying about NPH, Neil Patrick Harris, who was hosting this year. I thought he was hilarious. But a lot of people thought none of his jokes were really landing. But I guess it's just kind of like depends on your sense of humor, because he was throwing in like those jokes that are like, there's a lot of puns, and I love puns.
But people are disliking because they're so harsh. But comedy these days, there's no boundaries anymore. It just everything is like it's just harsh now. And if you take offensive, if you're offended by that, then that's when you're not going to find it funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's stuff that didn't quite work, like his like briefcase thing with with predictions, like. Yeah. I mean,
when he interacted with the people in the crowd, that was good.
Yeah. No. Yeah. When he went to Steve Carell, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Because he was like, he like automatically put on like his brick. Like persona, like as soon as he went to him, which I thought was hilarious. Yeah. But there's other good short like parts where he's like come back after the commercials, or we have best animated short, best documentary short, best board short, best and they kept he just throwing in a word that like just doesn't fit, and I was like, that's good, that's clever. But I don't know, yeah, like Neil Patrick Harris wasn't like edgy in any particular way. Like I don't think he was like, I don't know, I think he was better than most that we've had in the last couple of years, right? I mean, was Ellen better last year?
No.
No, I mean, like, and how great was that musical number that they opened with, right?
Yeah, it was good.
But anyway, yeah, let's go.
That was good because they celebrated the history
of movies. Yeah.
The Oscars a lot better than they had before.
And you have Black. What's his name?
Jack Black.
Jack Black. That was a good part.
Easiest name to remember.
What?
It's like the easiest name to remember.
Well, I didn't remember his last name.
Yeah, and it rhymed with his first name.
Yeah, whatever. You guys know, if you have been listening to the show long enough, know that like remembering names is definitely not my. It's a weakness. It's my kryptonite. Let's go. Okay, we'll go over some of the winners and see what you have to think. We'll probably come back to other moments in the show that we liked or disliked or whatever. But should we start with the big ones or go start from the smaller ones and go up? What do you guys think?
We can only do the big ones.
Yeah, only do the big ones and just like supporting stuff.
Okay, all right. Well, so best picture, obviously Birdman. It was people kind of foresaw that one. It won all the big awards leading into the Oscars. People were kind of hoping.
No one was like definite that one was going to win though.
Well, no, but yes and no. I think people were like, well, it won the SAG Awards. It won the
only because it won those ones. I feel.
And it was like someone threw out a stat. I think
it didn't feel like an Oscar movie. Like we talked about beforehand. All those other movies felt like Oscar movies. This one was a bit more unconventional.
Absolutely.
But it for sure deserved it.
Oh, absolutely. No, I have no problem with that.
And Best Director accompanied to win too, which is what I was talking about before.
And Best Original Screenplay as well.
Yeah.
No, which is I thought when that first, because that's the first one I think it won was Original Screenplay. Before it won the two big ones, was that like, and a lot of people on Twitter, and I had to I was like confused at first. I was like, I don't know if that one's the right pick, and then I immediately felt like vindicated because people I respect in the film industry are like, yeah, I don't know if they deserve, if Birdman deserves Best Original Screenplay,
as opposed to what?
As opposed to like maybe Best Editing. Or like
no, but like what deserves to win Best Original Screenplay over
probably
that?
Grand Budapest Hotel is a better written movie, I'd say. I mean, if all the great parts of Birdman are not the screenplay, right? It's the visual side of it so much as not the written side of it.
It's like the story side of it, right? So Birdman has a lot of long like emotional dialogue. You know what I mean? So that could resonate too with the voters.
No, for sure. Can we talk about the ending yet, or Dan? Have you finally seen it?
Yeah, that's the only one you see.
Okay. Well, Can we talk? I'm gonna spoilers quick. Skip ahead a couple minutes if you're worried about, or if you're listening live, too bad. But we're gonna talk about the ending of Birdman if you haven't seen it yet. What do you guys think happened there? Okay, there's obviously, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. What do you think happened? That final shot. What's going on?
I think he jumped out, fell to his death, and I think it was like the exact opposite of what they showed you. The exact opposite.
Okay, so what's his daughter seeing then?
Because she's showing that she's happy that her father is kind of painless now. You know what I mean?
Sort of. I think it's more, he jumped off, fell to his death, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
And his daughter is sort of adopting his psychosis and just, she's starting to see things.
Yeah, so that's interesting. That's interesting because that's a theory I've heard before, that she's seeing him how he's seen himself.
Exactly, right? Like, it's sort of, it's hereditary, and then she's...
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
Well, then, are you saying that he's actually, like... I mean, obviously he's crazy, right? I mean, because he believes he's doing these crazy things.
Right.
So, I mean, the way you have to think about it is, throughout the entire rest of the film, right, when he's doing these things with his mind, they're all things that could have happened. Like, he could have been him throwing it, like, destroying that room without, he could have just done that himself, right? And he's just imagining he did that. And even that, and there's that one, and this is the most important part, is when he's flying, and then he thinks he's landing, and he's really just getting out of a cab.
Yeah, and the guy goes for the money.
Yeah, right? So
I think the clip where he's throwing stuff around in the room, like they cut to him when someone's opening up a door, and he's actually physically throwing stuff or whatever.
Okay, so no, they couldn't have cut to someone opening the door. There was one cut.
Not everything was one cut.
No, but when they did it, it was like they tried to...
They were following somebody else going into him or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I know what you're, like, so when he jumps out of a window, you either have to believe that he, in his mind, didn't actually jump out of the window, but he imagined he did, or he actually did fall to his death, and then his daughter was just seeing things, or what Jeremy said. It's really up for interpretation. It's really weird. Do you guys know what the original ending for Birdman was supposed to be?
No.
So it was supposed to include Johnny Depp, and it was supposed to, like, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly how it was supposed to work out, but it was supposed to include Johnny Depp.
Well, that's not really anything then.
Sorry, what?
That's not really anything then if it's just supposed to include
No. In the end, it was supposed to be fun. It was supposed to, in the end, supposed to include Johnny Depp, and then have him.
Right, just a person. That doesn't matter.
No, but he was supposed to have him talking to his, like his Jack Sparrow persona, he was talking to his Birdman persona, which they couldn't get him or whatever reason, but obviously this ending I think is way better than the one that we would have seen with like a Jackson. It would have kind of just made it more of a joke out of it. When I think that I don't know, when the way it ended is kind of like how The Last of Us ended, right? It's up for you to decide, or the Inception.
Yeah, sure.
What do you guys think of that moment when he shot himself? Did you think he killed himself at that time? Do you think he was trying to kill himself at that time?
I think so.
I think he was for sure trying to kill himself. And then while watching the movie, I thought he actually...
The way they filmed it and showed it is like point blank.
It led you to believe that he had.
Mm-hmm. So the movie tricks you a lot. It kind of plays with what's real, what's not, and those scenes kind of play a joke on you because obviously that's not imagining anything.
It also won for cinematography, right?
It did, yeah.
They do a lot of tricks like that to try to just to push you in a certain direction or whatever.
They do the over the top ones, like this is fake, but then they do these small ones that are in the real life thing that everyone sees. So it does play with you a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jeremy, you'd be happy to know that Whiplash won Best Editing.
Yeah,
and had Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, and the supporting actor was a given for sure. But the editing too, I remember explaining last time on the podcast, just the way the guy was filming everything and cutting to all these little, small things. I thought was very like it just flowed very well. And then so it just makes sense that they went for editing. But I think they also went for sound editing too.
Well, I mean, apparently it's like a really musical movie, right? So it's supposed. I'm looking here if I can find it super quickly.
Yeah, and just scenes where before they're supposed to play and that teacher's in front of you and he's directing you, it's dead silence.
No, sound editing was American Sniper. It's the only.
Oh, okay.
It was the only.
That one makes sense.
Only one. No, it doesn't. I'm
sorry. because there's all facets of sound happening in that movie.
I guess
You know
that's
what I mean?
true.
There's action sounds, high impact action sounds, the
Cowboy
quiet
sounds.
where he's breathing, looking down his scope. The tense situations, like that makes sense. How does that not make sense?
I just don't. I didn't think that American Sniper deserved any Academy Awards.
Okay, so then there's your problem right there. You just said, just based on the film.
Based on the movie I watched, I don't think it deserved any Academy Awards. I think there's better movies in that
let's
category.
say the story, you're just grouping everything together. That makes no sense how you're saying that.
So what you're saying, no, but Jeremy, you were partially right. Sound mixing, Whiplash won.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, your comment on American Sniper, it doesn't. I don't know. I just disagree with how you're grouping it together.
What it is you don't watch a movie and say it doesn't deserve. You watch other movies and say they deserve more.
okay, well that's fair. And
Yeah.
And for the record, you did watch a lot of Oscar movies, so you think other ones did much better than American Sniper.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in that category.
Well, you're grouping it all together. You're saying basically, I don't like this movie. I don't want it to win anything. It shouldn't win anything.
Well, that's
Picking things.
You're making a very broad. You're saying that I'm making a very broad statement.
Yeah,
I don't think
extremely broad.
I don't think in all the categories that it was nominated in, there was better films that deserved to win, and in most categories it did. I'm actually happy that it only won one because I don't think it deserved more than that. Okay, maybe it may deserve.
Think about other awards for it. Just sound editing.
Yeah, I guess that's you're right. No
Yeah,
one's gonna remember American Sniper for its great sound editing.
You're not gonna remember any other movie for its editing of sound. You're never thinking about that when you're watching a movie.
Well, you're right. Isn't that the best kind that you're not aware of?
No, you just don't think of that award. You're like, oh man, this sound is it's so good, it's so crystal clear. Like you don't think about that. But at the end of the day, American Sniper is a war movie with a lot of loud action and quiet, tense moments. The sound helped those moments, specifically when he's making decisions of where to shoot somebody. The sound is very,
yeah, it's true. I mean, and then
so
I'm really not that sure what the difference between sound editing and sound mixing is, to be honest. So, we'll just leave that there for now. Best director. So we talked about it was Alejandro González Iñárritu. What did you think of? What's his name? When they announced best film or best picture, right? And it was who did it? It was Sean Penn, right? And he made that kind of like. Sorry?
I didn't see that part, but yeah.
He made this like he opens the envelope, right? And he looks at it. He pauses like maybe like a good 5 seconds, and he's like, "Who gave this son of a bitch a green card?" And then like announces it's like Antonio Gonzalez. People thought it was really offensive. It didn't bug me at all.
That sounds hilarious.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, that's basically a racial joke.
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
That's
sure.
That's 100% going to be offensive.
Well, it's an immigrant joke, not a racial joke. Well, but I would assume that they know each other, that they've worked together.
I mean, okay, yeah.
It's also like he's Spanish, whatever. Like,
yeah.
So that's what I mean.
But I would assume that Sean Penn knows him and like feels that they are on that level that they can make that joke.
Based on no context.
Yeah,
that is
it's
kind of a weird thing to say. Yeah. But yeah, you can't take all this stuff seriously. That's the one thing.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you want to see these people act like they normally act. That's probably something that he might say.
It definitely is offensive. This American guy, saying this about, like he wins in a best director. It's like, he's questioning it to a certain degree in a joking way, but it's not serious.
I would still call that parody though. Like he's not saying he's not malicious.
No, it's definitely not serious. But yeah,
it's not like he dropped the envelope and walked off the stage after saying that. So we have Best Actor, Eddie Redmayne. He won that for The Theory of Everything, playing, I mean, I'm sure he deserved it. I haven't seen The Theory of Everything yet. I have it ready to watch, and I'm going to do it. But, again, I just thought there was other specifically Birdman.
That being said, Theory of Everything, like, conceptually, that's just a hard role to play because you have to play him in so many phases of his life.
And that's what,
and play him differently and carry the audience through each phase of his life.
Physically embodying him through physical transformations throughout his life and conveying the emotion through a dead face.
There's both aspects of it. So towards the end of the movie, I'm assuming he's completely no emotion on his face and still conveying.
Yeah, I think he has some control. I think maybe the actor used more eyebrow movements and eyes, but he conveyed it very
Something
well,
like
his
that.
emotions. So,
But like, it's for sure a feat of acting
Yeah.
to perform that role.
And then you have Julianne Moore.
well, full retard thing, kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What people were compared to.
Yeah, then you have Julianne Moore, who won for
Also playing a
best.
retard.
Exactly, exactly. Like right,
No,
not
not
to be
like a lady who has Alzheimer's.
no,
It's-
not to be
it's-
crass though, right? Like you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
both best actor and best actress both won for playing a.
But it's also
part
like
where they
I
had
think
to-
that don't go full retard thing is outdated. Like we're in this.
So no way. So
actually
now
to explore these things.
the best way to win an Oscar is to in fact go full retard.
No, but
And again, not
the
to be
right
crass. We're not trying to be. We
everything
don't.
else
You know.
behind you. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess. I mean, it
All
does.
these movies are not they don't do it half-assed. They're doing it and they're exploring it, doing like they're the people that they're talking about are considered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I know.
It's not just showing it out there for an Academy Award. It's
What
actually showing the
I'm
illness.
saying is that it's like we talked about last on our Oscar preview, and how certain things have a smell of Oscar bait,
Yes.
and these are those roles that have that. You know what I mean? And they.
Well, I mean, maybe that's the new Oscar bait.
I'll stick with that the Imitation Game because you kind of said that was an Oscar bait movie. You really enjoyed it. Julian, not so much.
I haven't seen it yet.
I thought it was okay, but with what we learned from the Oscar, who won? He won for adapted screenplay,
Yes.
and that guy was gay or whatever. He took the opportunity to, say, don't think you're weird. I almost
Yeah.
killed myself. But watching the movie, I didn't even feel like that part of the movie was like.
It was definitely it was a B story, right? Like,
Yeah, it was like it would happen every now and then. Like, why do they keep going back this? Why do they keep doing this? But I didn't care about that.
It wasn't the focus.
Yeah,
the
and then-
focus
and
was
then-
the Enigma
yeah.
machine.
Exactly, and that's what everyone went and watched that movie
Wait,
for.
so whoa, back
Story.
up. You said the theory of everything. You're talking about.
No,
I
it's
said
not
Imitation
Imitation
Game.
Game.
Oh, Imitation. Okay,
I said
yeah.
segueing your Oscar bait.
Yeah. Okay, now
Imitation
and everything
Which
you
set up
said
last.
now makes sense. But yeah, they kept going back to that part, and I mean, it's
But
right.
it was very much a B story. They focused on the Enigma machine, and that became a story after he had accomplished that in
Yeah.
the latter half of the
But
movie.
why everyone thinks that movie's so special is because that B story, because
Yeah.
what he did, but how he was prosecuted for.
It's a
what
cool
he was.
story, and they didn't focus on
Yeah,
that.
and so what I'm saying is when I watched the movie, I didn't really understand the whole
Yeah.
B story, and it didn't really come into play till the very end. But it's like, oh, that's pretty shitty.
Well, that's the mistake. That's why it doesn't resonate,
Yeah.
right? Because it wasn't the focus. So at the end, they're just throwing it in, like, oh, okay, I guess that happened.
Exactly.
Which is exactly what I said when I right after I'd watched it. And you guys, I don't think you'd seen it yet, and I said that
Yeah, I didn't see it yet.
I didn't like it. And I thought that the best part of the movie was when they were concentrating on why he was a genius, and that was when he was solving the enigma of the Enigma machine. And then once that's over, the movie isn't as strong anymore. Like it just doesn't hold
But
up.
that
as
part of
much.
the movie doesn't feel like an Oscar movie to me. It feels like an action movie almost.
The first part.
So
The
more
B
movie,
story
yeah.
makes it the Oscar movie, where it's
I
this
guess.
cool
Well,
story,
yeah,
personal
yeah.
story.
So that it's the
And what I'm
Oscar
saying is
bait
that
part of
didn't
it that
come
makes
into
it.
light until the guy won for Best Adapted Screenplay and told his
For
story.
you, yeah.
Yeah, for me is what I'm saying.
So like all clicked for you. It was like a light.
Yeah, it all
went
clicked
off.
for me, and that's why that movie's being talked about more so.
Yeah. So we have Best Supporting Actor J.K. Simmons for Whiplash. This is Jeremy. This is probably what your favorite movie out of
Yeah.
all the nominations.
God damn it.
Absolutely.
So, and
So-
Like I said, I was more hooked than any other movie. It's maybe Birdman was pretty hooked,
Yeah.
but this one was more tense, and I felt like shaky at moments just for the characters that are dealing with this guy and what they're about to accomplish.
they showed his scene when he won the award, or they picked a scene where he's acting in it, obviously from the film.
One of the
and,
best.
and it's and that's what Devendra Hardawar, I guess this guy from Slash Film.
Right.
He's like, yeah, they picked the best scene to play, and I'd actually heard that scene when they did
That scene that they showed though is not even over yet. He does more stuff after that.
Yeah, I was like, are you
Well,
rushing or
I'll
dragging?
spoil it a little bit to set up that scene. He talks to that character in the hallway before, but he's talking to him very nicely, asking him questions about his life. Like, don't worry if you mess up. Don't worry if you do this. Then he goes into that scene, and he just a button switch, flicks, and he changes completely his persona. So
Yeah, I mean,
the question is, why is he doing this? You know what I mean? And you kind of find out throughout the film with the questions they asked. And the end is so crazy because you don't know if they got what they were looking for or they went over the line, and it's more of like a psychologically like insane thing that happens.
I need to watch it. I mean, I just like I downloaded Theory of Everything way earlier, and now I want and I'm like, you just talked up Whiplash so much, and I'm like, no, I have to watch that movie first now. It has to.
Yeah, and there's HD versions available now, so that helps too.
So let's see what else we got here. Achievement in costume design, that went to Grand Budapest Hotel. So Budapest Hotel took home 3 Oscars. None in any of the major categories, unfortunately. But 3 is nothing to shake a stick at. Probably my favorite out of the ones I've seen, as far as Oscar movies. I'm really glad it got to take home that much stuff. Okay, so makeup, it also won for makeup, Grand Budapest Hotel. I see. This is the part where I'm like, maybe it should have gone to Guardians, or Guardians didn't get anything. It was nominated in a couple categories, didn't take home anything. And
the special effects are the superhero category.
Yeah, exactly, right.
I think
it did, which
makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's also the most
apes over that one,
right? I mean,
so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the main characters.
No, I mean, it makes sense that Interstellar wins that. It's also the most Oscar movie out of all those movies that are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, you're right about apes. It's like the first shot of the movie. It opens with a close up of an ape riding a horse. What I mean?
But then as soon as you see their face move up close and the muscle twitches, holy shit!
Put a lot into it.
You have to buy that. If you don't buy that movie doesn't work.
They don't even talk. It's
sign language.
It's sign language and subtitles or whatever, right? And all the emotion, everything's coming through the body movements, the facial movements. It's all CG.
Yeah, and if you don't buy that, like I said, if you don't buy that, movie doesn't work.
Exactly. And I remember thinking about it one time, just how good it was, and then just forgetting it. I'm like, hey,
and then you just accept it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one doesn't make sense. I mean, maybe it'll win for the third movie,
But Inception still makes sense.
Yeah, it's not a bad win. It's just more deserving. Foreign language film, best live action short, blah blah blah. Original screenplay, Birdman. Sound mixing, Whiplash, talked about that. Sound editing, American Sniper, talked about that. Visual effects, Interstellar, talked about that. Animated short, Feast, that was ahead of Big Hero 6. Yeah. Big Hero 6 won for best animated film.
And he dropped it.
What was it?
He started talking about Guardians earlier, and then he just stopped, and then we're going into Guardians right now.
Wow, what do you mean?
Well, we have to finish that segment.
Are you talking about me on the show?
Yeah.
I'm not here. I'm right here. No, Guardians. So best animated movie. It's obviously not for Guardians. Isn't obviously up for that, but that's the only superhero movie. I guess you can pick. If you pick Big Hero 6 as a superhero movie, that's the only one that won anything. I don't know. I think it's a shame, considering how much, especially for us, how much we like these movies, that they don't get any recognition at the Oscars. It's kind of, in fact, the opposite of recognition. They get kind of made fun of, even though over half the presenters are in superhero movies. You know what I mean? It seems like kind of.
I get the impression that they look at that more as a paycheck than actual art.
Really though?
Yeah. And superhero movies are a bit different. They're appeasing an audience who come from comic books and video games and cartoons. The structure of these movies aren't necessarily the best artistic.
They're not
film.
They're not technical movies, right? Yeah. They're good movies. They're popcorn movies, but they don't. It's not just about acting or directing. It all works together, and it's fine.
But you need all those things to make a good.
Yeah, they all work, but it's not all the top tier.
They're throwing everything that we know and love from all these other mediums and where they come from at you, and they're just putting them in that frame of a movie with a beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. So the Academy is not going to be like, this is the best movie because it has all these crazy things and it has the structure. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen.
I think superhero movies are becoming so much more diverse, right? I think there's no reason you can't have a very emotional drama movie that incorporates characters from this universe that we already established.
And for the record, look at Captain America: Winter Soldier. Yeah. That was probably the best superhero movie we've seen in a long time. But that being said, a lot of the certain superhero movies are becoming very formulaic,
Yeah.
Look at Iron Man 3 and Thor 2, where they were just good. They weren't great. They were nothing special.
This is all
just whatever.
This is all Marvel Studios, pretty much. Right
yeah. Well, that's what we have right now. Yeah. DC's doing their stuff soon.
And we'll see what happens with that stuff. I mean, I'm excited. Maybe they'll take a much more serious note. the only movie that ever got recognized for superhero movie that ever got recognized was one that took it very seriously, and that was The Dark Knight, right? So these ones are doing something similar. Maybe they'll get recognized just for being darker.
I'm happy Big Hero 6 won for animated though.
Yeah, I mean, how many of those did you see?
What's that?
How many of those did you see, the animated features?
Just that one, but like, it was pretty emotional for me, and I just, it resonated with me like deeply. So I'm just happy. Like, it's about a kid, and his older brother, and inventing these gadgets and stuff, and these robots, and it's just a cool concept, and like a serious, heartfelt story that plays through.
So I think that covers pretty much all the grand original score was also Budapest. Original song Glory. So did you hear the performed Glory live? Were you there for that?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah, that obviously was a very good song and deserved to win that for sure.
I thought the best thing about the Imitation Game was that theme song they had though, playing through it. Do you remember that one? Really? The score
did not stick out to me in that movie.
Look it up again. You're like, holy crap, that's a good song.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so obviously, Lego Movie didn't get anything. It wasn't going to win Best. It have a chance maybe winning Best Original Song, but Glory is too good. You're not going to beat that one, right? So, what did you think of Lady Gaga's performance of A Sound of Music?
Pretty cool. Didn't really sound like her, but it was good singing.
Yeah, it didn't really sound like her at all. Like you'll think of Lady Gaga sounding like that, but it was a good performance.
It was just her raw voice, right? So yeah. She wasn't trying to be all cool.
No, I saw a thing saying that she trained for months and months.
Yeah, like she sounded like a classic singer with very little music behind her to sing it. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think of like the performances, music performances, and we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but was it a success or is it it had the lowest ratings this Oscars it did since like 2009 or something like that. I don't know if that's an indictment of the fact that the movies they only picked 9 movies or 8 movies. Most of them people haven't seen. If that's maybe more the case or I don't know. I'm not sure. People are just becoming disenchanted with watching millionaires give other millionaires prizes made of gold.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. They just, in terms of the whole, they just need to shorten it and incorporate what makes these movies more, special into the show. So, like the music that's in these shows, like get the orchestra to play it more.
They did a little bit, like when
they do a little bit, like when they, but it's not like
the ones that stuck out were like when Chris Pratt came on, right, to do to announce something. They they played like an orchestral version of like a song from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, things like that they do, but like more like an event within the event, like in the video game awards show, like they did the Red Dead Redemption song.
Yeah.
That they had the guy come up there with his guitar and like.
Well, isn't that what they did with the original scores? That's kind of like what they're doing.
They take movies and throw on stage to be entertaining. That's the question. Instead of just showing clips from it,
I mean, make it more like SNL. You have you bring these like really great actors together and have them do like a skit.
Yeah, like what? Like they would do an opening skit. Like why not throw that in between every now and then?
Video
game award shows did that.
Idea. You have all these amazing actors there. Like have them come up, do a couple to recreate like a classic scene from a movie, right?
Because what they're cool is that when they come out to announce things, they have a little monologue that's scripted. That's funny. Yeah. It's always funny, right? So they need to blow that up a bit more with these celebrities when they're there.
I'm just spitballing now, but imagine you have like these such good actors, right? They're all there. You have like you do like a little, not like a skit like SNL, but like you recreate like a classic movie scene, right? With different actors, not the same ones. Different actors playing roles that you already like, the roles of other characters. How cool would that be, right? And then you go into announcement or whatever. You don't have to have someone reading it. Maybe you just do that and then have it all done like digitally. So you just move through it quickly. Yeah, the guy comes out, blah blah blah, gets the statue done. Next, I think that'd be cool.
But I mean, cool. I would assume that most people who are into the Oscars would call that kind of gimmicky, and that's like.
Would you call that gimmicky though? Why is that gimmicky?
It would for sure be gimmicky.
Why is that any more less gimmicky than?
You're just jumbling up the actors for a scene. How many times are you going to do that though? You know what I mean? You can't do it all the time.
A couple times.
The novelty wears off after like 2 or 3 scenes.
Sure. So you only do 2 or 3.
So when you brought that up, all I thought about was like Liam Neeson in a comedy, just like and not being funny, but the audience laughs.
Like from that's probably the funniest scene from that show. Dan.
I also remembered I guess when Hugh Jackman hosted, he was in that musical movie or whatever.
Les
Mis, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
all the actors came out and they did like that one crucial scene. So like Russell Crowe and all these people, and they sang the thing.
The thing is, unfortunately, this is the world we live in. That's considered like a classic play. So that's allowed. That's art. And if they were to do that from a different movie, it wouldn't
exactly. I'm saying
count.
like what are in these other movies that they can do throw on stage?
Yeah,
there's so many scenes from classic artful movies.
So you don't always want to see a scene recreated with different actors all the time.
No, you wouldn't. But like you could you do a couple a year, and then like it becomes exciting. Like what scenes are they going to do this year? Which actors are going to be in them? You know, like that's cool. It's
it's a cool idea.
You create that scene with Matt Damon and from Saving Private Ryan where they're sitting in the town and they're just talking about like they're just two
actors. Like you're saying film.
No, he wants it on stage.
But then it's like theater almost. You know?
Yeah,
exactly. How cool would that be?
I know, but like that's not being theater though.
Not everybody's a theater actor. A lot of them are, but not all of them.
Yeah, because you're just watching them, right? Movies is about camera angles and
I guess true.
Moving around. It's not about the stage, you know.
But I mean, if you're celebrating the actors, that's really what people are there to see. Then why not? You know, I mean.
Yeah, but not all of them are.
No, that makes sense. It's just saying.
Yeah.
It's different.
Anyway, I think we probably covered enough. Do you know what? I'll throw this one out here. This quote that I thought that I liked a lot. James Gunn, he's the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, and he had this to say about the snubbing of superhero movies and how they're making fun of them and stuff during the show. So he says, "Quote: If you think people who make superhero movies are dumb, come out and say we're dumb," he said. "But if you, as an independent filmmaker or quote unquote serious filmmaker, think you put more love into your characters than Russo brothers do Captain America, or Joss Whedon does the Hulk, or I do a talking raccoon, you are simply mistaken." And I'll leave it there because I think that says it all as far as our take on why superhero movies aren't in there, or at least mine.
Again, I agree with everything he says, but the Oscars aren't about how much you love the characters; it's about how good you make the movie.
Yeah, but I just think I think some of those movies are as good, if not better, than some of the ones that won or nominated. They're just
I don't see.
But
Guardians
you're just looking through a different lens and saying, well, it's a superhero movie where it's not even worth considering it. You know.
No, I don't think Guardians deserve to win any of those big categories.
I mean, I think it deserves to be at least nominated.
Maybe for costume design or whatever. That's about it.
Maybe that, or maybe special effects and stuff. Or they were nominated for that, were they?
But it's so easy to say, just because they have action, then they're not. It's not just a pure drama.
We're all over here just saying, we love superheroes so much, we need them in there. Just put them in there. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I'm saying, in terms of acting, they don't deserve any of those categories, right?
Well, in some they do. Yeah, why not?
In which category? Best supporting actor? How would they win that?
Well, it depends. It depends on which movie or which role you're talking about.
I'm talking about this year, these Oscars versus J.K. Simmons. How would they win?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
or even
at the end of the day, these superheroes they break the conventional laws of these artistic films. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
By throwing in all these characters, all these crazy set pieces and action scenes. It's not we don't go it for the art form of the film. Yeah. And all these nerds now, including us, are saying we want our superheroes in there. Why aren't they considered? Because they're not in the same league as those. They're not being dissected.
Because the Oscars aren't a popularity contest. Yeah. They're about the actual art of the movie itself.
Exactly.
And because they break those tropes, they don't apply to that.
And the only films that have come close or changed the mind of people to beg this question is the Dark Knight series because of its tone, which matches everything else that's already nominated and stuff, right?
Well, and that's my problem is that it's always seems to be the same types of movies. I think they just need to broaden their horizons a little. That's all. Not saying that the superhero it has to be superhero movies, but there's a lot of other big summer movies that
it's fine to say to broaden it, but we just can't say this deserves to be in there right now.
I would say thus far there hasn't been a superhero movie that's that same caliber as most of these Oscar winners.
Yeah,
but most superhero movies been on the same level as Birdman.
You're also talking to a person, Daniel, that has only seen one of these movies, and how can you say that
Sorry?
Return of the King. Did it win Best Movie?
Yeah.
That's basically a
Best
superhero movie, in my opinion.
Well, it's a fantasy movie.
Yeah.
And honestly, they gave him 11 awards because they for all 3 movies. They had stopped it for the first couple of years, which is stupid too.
Looking back and thinking that one Best Film is pretty crazy to think about that.
But that's I would argue that it didn't deserve it.
Yeah, no, me too. Like, all the stuff that's crammed in there, you know what I mean? Like that's
I don't know, Julian. I can't name a superhero movie that's deserved to win any of those.
I'm not saying necessarily a superhero movie. I'm talking about genre film in general. Like Apes, for instance, could have easily been nominated. You know, like for Best Picture. And that movie. I mean, I don't know why voice acting isn't a category. By the way, it definitely should be, or performance capture, whatever. You could combine the two. That should definitely be a category because there's more and more now voice acting and.
I'm sure that'll come with time. Once it becomes more of a mainstream thing.
A lot of things have been added, like animated feature. Like just technology gets better, and more people are experimenting.
Voice acting is becoming more and more prominent in these movies, so it should eventually carve out its own little category.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, and then those are another place where then those types of films can get credit or noticed where they deserve to be noticed anyway. So anyway, let's move on a little bit past the Oscars. To some other movie news that's not related to the Oscars. So this happened about 3 days after we recorded our last episode, about 3 weeks ago. So Spider-Man and Marvel and Sony came to a deal on Spider-Man, and Spider-Man will be joining the MCU, which was pretty huge. I mean, we've been speculating about this for months, if not years, right? So the deal entails he'll first appear in an MCU film. The rumor is that it'll probably be Civil War, and then he'll get his own movie on July 28th, 2017. So that kind of bumps back all the movies after that by like 2 or 3 months, like down the line, making the Inhumans even 3 months later than it already is. Sony will continue to finance, distribute, own, and have final creative control. Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige will be producing, and it will likely be Peter Parker, even though there has been rumors lately that they're looking at actors that aren't, the typically white Peter Parker. So, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to know how it worked between the two studios because I realized I had heard that Sony hadn't fully they didn't sell them off, right? Like they still retained the rights.
I think Sony's gonna make their own movie.
Yeah,
but Marvel can use him in Avengers stuff and have creative control in that part of it.
Just on the Avengers, and that's it.
So whenever they use them, like in Captain America or Avengers.
Huh.
So the idea is that they're going to bring Spider-Man into the MCU. Sony still pays for to make their own independent movies that will be in the MCU, but since they're collaborating with Marvel, I mean, it says Sony retains creative control, even though they're talking the fact that they've made this deal seems to me like they're not going to be like, listen, Marvel, we'll make our own movie and we'll just let you use the character. I mean, clearly
they're just trying to be tough by saying we remain, the creative control. But I think at the end of the day, they're going to let Marvel do whatever they want.
Yeah, because I mean, really, they know how to use their characters. I mean, if you can make a talking raccoon, like the number one movie in America for 3 straight months, it shouldn't be too much of a task to turn Spider-Man into the massive success that it already is,
But Sony still thinks they're doing well with Spider-Man, right?
No, I think the reason they made this deal is because of how much of a flop Amazing Spider-Man 2 was.
Yeah, I know, but before though, they know they've done something special with the character.
Yeah,
once,
They made one good movie, Spider-Man 2.
Two for sure, 100%.
2.5.
Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Spider-Man 2 is probably one of the great superhero movies ever made.
Yeah, it's very good. Anyway, so yeah, it's just really great to finally put this aside and okay, no more
It's almost like the impact of it isn't as great though because of the rumors leading up to it,
Yeah.
If it would just announce it out of nowhere, holy fuck, but really, it's
also kind of weird because what is Spider-Man gonna do in Infinity War?
Yeah, Spider-Man's gonna be Spider-Man.
He's not gonna do anything.
Doing Spider-Man shit.
He's gonna be flipping around and it'll be cool, and they'll make it look cool. And we're saying in the comics, when Spider-Man is a part of these big cosmic things, he doesn't really have a part to play.
He doesn't really do much.
He's not a power
you think in Civil War they're just there'll be like stories of Spider-Man and clips of him doing stuff, and maybe he'll interact with Avengers, but you don't know he's Peter Parker. And then the whole Civil War Act thing happens, and then he actually does get to take off his mask in front of the podium.
Well, see, it has less effect if he's not established already, right?
Yeah, but everyone knows
something
who
they established
Spider-Man
in the
is.
beginning of the movie, or something, or something like that. And then when that Civil War thing happens,
I guess one of the virtues of Spider-Man is already established. Everybody knows who Spider-Man is.
So when he pops up, it's like, oh, cool, he's doing his cool, quippy jokes. He pops in here, comes back here.
I'm sure they'll show him into like an
boom,
after-credit scene, and then
boom, he pulls off his mask. It's like, oh, it's that actor they casted as him. Like they don't announce the actor, maybe. Or something like that.
Sure, gonna cool.
They're gonna announce it, but that'd be cool. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It
and
goes
it won't
back
be
to that like
Alice too. By the way, 100% won't be.
It'll be Peter Parker.
Yeah, I mean, so they said in the press release that it'll be Peter Parker, but I was saying is that the rumors lately, the last week anyway, is that they are looking at actors that aren't white.
Definitely an option. Definitely an option, but at the end of the day, DC and Marvel, they're going with the primary characters that are in these roles, right? Apart from Ant-Man, I guess, but they're both.
Ant-Man's not a big gun either way.
That's why I also say about DC, I think they're going to go with Hal Jordan. They're not just going to skip over and go to John Stewart.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say with that one, only because
of its history, yes.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah,
and you don't have that established. You don't have that ability like Spider-Man, where it's already established. Everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Everyone knows Peter Parker, and nobody knows Miles Morales.
And nobody knows, and nobody knows Green Lantern. Never mind which Green Lantern you're talking about. Is
True.
Really what it is. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I mean, it's really hard to say. Like, it's really hard to say.
Yeah.
But
plus like the age that the people who watch the cartoon with Jon Stewart, they're all like our age now, pretty much, and
exactly, which is why
what age are they going to be when that Green Lantern shows up? Like,
it's not.
Would they resonate with Jon Stewart? Oh man, we got to see this because Jon Stewart's in it. I've been waiting for this, or that's who I know as Green Lantern. Yeah, that's a unique situation right there.
Well, I mean, you're not going to probably know for at least like another year, probably.
No.
Or they're going to have.
Like my argument is like you want your Bruce Wayne, your Clark Kent, your Barry Allen. You want the first generation people, and that's what I want to. Being a fan of the Green Lantern series, I don't want to just skip him over because creative control on the character was shitty before. They didn't know how to make a movie about him.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking about first run characters and all that stuff, let's go right into the reveal of Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Zack Snyder tweeted out a photo of him last week. Pretty dope. It's a picture of him, black background. It's pretty dope. Unite the Seven in like a white writing over top. We can talk about what Unite the Seven means, and there's probably really only two things.
Kind of reminiscent of the Social Network poster. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, it actually really is.
I don't know. Oh, okay, sure.
It was like Zach Zuckerberg's like face, and then what did it say?
It said like the Social Network over top of it.
No, it's like a text about like knowing your enemies or something like that, in like modern writing.
But yeah, it's like the same font.
Yeah. Almost, it's like see-through too.
Yeah.
If you look at it.
Well, you want to be able to see a picture of Jason Momoa, right? You don't want to skip that. So, okay, what do you guys think? I've shown this picture now to a couple of, like, non-comic book fans, people maybe who like seen Game of Thrones. I was like, listen, you guys know, remember Jason Momoa? He played the Khalasar Drogo on Game of Thrones. Like, oh yeah, I remember him. I'm like, okay, so he's gonna play Aquaman. What do you think of this picture? And I showed them. They're like, oh yeah, that's pretty freaking cool actually. And then they wait and they're like, no, that's really cool. Like that's like pretty much the exact reaction I've gotten about 3 times. Yeah. It's like pretty much the coolest version of Aquaman we've ever gotten, even in the comics. Never mind missing his like hook hand. Other than that, it's the coolest.
I don't want the hook hand though. Just.
No, he's better off at least at first like this.
Yeah. Well, that's just like a hook that like moves around or something like that.
I feel like they may tie it in at some point, him losing a hand. But right now,
I don't know. My prediction is that they're just taking that look from that comic run where he turned more badass with the long hair, but they're not going to go hook hand. I think they're just not.
Not yet.
Not at all. I don't think
you can't go hook hand too early.
No, I'm saying my prediction is they're never going to do the hook hand.
You can't go full hook hand.
No, I don't the hook hand.
It is a little cumbersome.
He's not have a hook hand.
It doesn't make a lot
He has
sense.
a trident. That's
with
his
5 points, which
like
doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, like and we've kind of seen in the video game, God's Among Us Injustice, that trident is pretty cool. Like, he uses it very effectively.
Yeah.
I love how this trident has 5 points on it. It's like a 5 dent or a trident.
Yes, this is not a trident.
Julie, have you seen the fighting like videos of Aquaman and Injustice?
Yeah, I've seen you guys play.
You see me play as Aquaman and Injustice.
Like, the trident utilization is badass.
The only move I've seen Daniel use over and over again is where you stab him and throw him behind you. Like, you throw him. You know,
they all look like that, but it's a lot of he's got a lot of up and down moves.
Yeah, Aquaman is like I think he's kind of like the Thor of the DC universe.
Yes.
With more of an edge.
Both him and Wonder Woman are sort of split that role.
Yeah. But like, and that trident I feel is going to be used like Mjolnir to a certain degree.
No, he is very much like Thor. He's very regal, and it's all about honor and the family and their own specific culture that's separate from the world.
Yeah, and this look, it makes sense. I wonder though, like the in between the tattoos, it looks almost silver, but I can't really tell. But it's probably just a skin. That's
just kind of the tone I think they applied. Yeah. It's not sepia. But
and that's another thing. A complaint is the color. A lot of it's very muted. But is that part of the editing of it? Yeah, it has to be because it looks gray and black basically. I just want more color to pop out though in these characters.
Well, you gotta get that to that point.
Yeah, because if you look at Superman's new costume, it's a lot bluer.
It's sort of like if this is Aquaman. It's essentially black and white, and then the gold is a little bit popping. So where it's Superman, they would have a bit of red around his chest and cape that would be popping, but the rest would be black and white. That's kind of what they're doing with the poster.
Yeah, no,
that's what I assume, anyways.
And then if you look down to his belt here, he's got the A.
Yeah.
Or not the A, but like the Aquaman logo. That's basically an A for.
Well, it used to be A for Aquaman back in the day.
Yeah. Now it's for his. Where he comes from. The tattoos on the top of the hands are kind of weird.
The tattoos are weird. I could take or leave the tattoos.
It makes sense though. The scales on there. The scales kind of look like arrowheads or just like triangles.
See on the top right there, are those tattoos or is that armor?
The top right?
Yeah.
That's his shoulder, like his top.
The left shoulder is armor. The right.
His right, our left is armor. The other one though.
Which is that one?
Yeah,
that's tattoo.
His left, our right.
Yeah, that's tattoo.
That's tattoo, man.
What do you mean? It goes all the way down his arm.
I know. I don't like it. I don't think.
Oh, you don't like it?
Well, I mean, like, would you rather that or like an bright orange tunic?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is if he takes that armor off, he has the same scale tattoos on the other side. That's how they're doing it this time around. But again,
I'm sure they'll make it work. It's just kind of weird to have the tattoo of the armor you're wearing underneath the armor you're already wearing.
I guess he's wearing a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's weird though is the hands though, because let's say he was to disguise himself, the hands are completely black tattoos.
Wait, he's the king of Atlantis. Why is he disguising himself? Why would he even think about that?
If he ever was to the storyline where he comes to the Earth,
like before we started recording, we were talking about in Dawn of Justice. We were assuming that Wonder Woman at least will be part of like the regular world, sort of in hiding, and I could see Aquaman doing the same sort of thing. He's doing recon.
How do you hide? It's like you got these massive dreadlocks. Huge dude, you're walking around with a trident.
How many guys have the man buns nowadays?
No, but this version of Aquaman doesn't give a shit about
that's true.
The surface light.
Look at those eyes.
He doesn't care about the surface at all.
Those are I don't give a fuck eyes.
He does. He wants to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
You can't tell from this one.
Okay, so what do you guys take of the Unite the Seven? What do you guys think?
So actually, we'll color the way we were talking earlier. Some people I've heard it say like Unite the Seven Seas. Like, he's not king yet, and he wants to become king.
I think that's what it is, but there's also 7 Justice League members.
Yeah.
But why would Aquaman... Yeah. But why would Aquaman be the guy that unites?
But maybe he's just the catalyst that does, in fact, unite all 7.
He's the one that...
But I don't think that's the meaning. I think it's for the 7 Seas, 100%.
That kind of makes sense. It's also a little cheesy, though.
Maybe
it doesn't say seas at the end. Unite the 7.
I know, but unite the 7...
What if it's just... both, and they knew that it has both meanings, and they wanted it to mean both things. Why can't it just be both?
Okay, wait. Who are the 7 Justice League members that are going to be in the movie that are going to be united according to this poster?
Okay, so we got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg is 5. Then you have Flash and Green Lantern 7.
And Green Lantern, okay. Yeah. It's just weird. Like Aquaman, typically. Traditionally wouldn't be the one to unite those 7.
No, it would probably be Superman.
That's why I'm saying it's not that.
But as unconventional, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
What if he was Martian Manhunter?
Well, no, but he's already Aquaman.
I know. Just look at his face as he's staring at you. Like, what
Yeah,
if that
yeah.
was Martian
It could be
Manhunter?
Martian.
I mean, but there's so many people who can do a good stare in Hollywood. You
And
need-
not getting this Aquaman, which is, or like the traditional Aquaman, which is kind of, it's good. It's a good thing based on opinions by people and what they know of him.
You
But
can't see right now, but Jeremy has a picture of the new 52 Aquaman when he's clean shaven and like young.
yeah, skinny, blonde.
But
from
not
that
getting
run
out.
from Jeff Johns, it was very well written, and the character
Yes.
was way cooler.
Yes.
Without the badassery dreadlocks and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think because of how people perceive him in the like mainstream,
Yes.
doing the visual look, like just going like all out, being boom, this is who he is.
Yeah.
Like, look how cool he looks. Is like so necessary.
That's another good point. Because I have a friend at work I was talking to about this, and he said, like, Aquaman's always kind of been a joke to him, but he saw this, he's like, well, shit, this is pretty serious.
And it played off of Game of Thrones, popularity too as well.
For sure.
Yeah, even
Also, with the tone of these movies previously, this fits better than the clean-shaven, good
But
two
he
shoes.
also has the blonde streaks in his hair, which can also leave room for him to
Hard
go
to say
back,
if that's blonde or not.
I know, but like it's not pure black hair.
There's black and gray, maybe, that'd be cool.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just saying they're giving it a two-tonal effect.
Yes.
Because one day he could go, short, bleached hair or something like that. You know what I mean?
frosty tips, maybe.
He's had, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I do like that they're starting with the barbaric look because, especially if we're going with the Unite the Seventh thing, that means he's not king yet. So this is he's an outsider. He's neither land nor sea. He's kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
He's just
They're it's definitely the Thor and Loki story with him.
Yeah.
Him and Orm. Like
Remember when he turned down the role of the one that Bautista took in the Guardians?
Drax.
Because he didn't want to get typecast.
Yeah, but Drax is a low-tier character compared to a member of the Justice
No,
League.
I know, but like, it's not like he was like he was offered both and had to.
No, I think
like,
Momoa knew his popularity rising and what he was capable of, and he wanted a Thor role. Or
Yeah, but look at the last two movies he's done. He did Conan the Barbarian, which was terrible and a flop, and then now is this one, right? So it's like that's if he was. I just find that the last reason for turning down is just. A little
I think he just knew that more. I mean, roles were coming around the corner with DC in particular, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to be."
I'm sure they were in talks at at that point.
Yeah,
and like to be fair, he made the right decision, right?
Yeah,
no, I know that's true.
He held out.
Like Batista's very he's more popular and famous now because of it, but Momoa I think is capable of more than Batista.
I also don't know if excuse me. I don't also know if Bautista could have. Sorry. If Momoa, Bautista, whatever. I don't know if Momoa could have done the the comedy side of
he's got
the
that
Drax
on
role.
right?
What?
We just looked up a photo of his arm tattoo.
Yeah.
And it looks very similar to the scales almost.
He has one tattoo that looks like. I think the picture is almost unedited of his forearm in the.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, I mean, I knew he already had a tattoo on his arm. I just didn't know it was that close. So, let's move on a little bit. We're talking about DC. So, Wonder Woman is filming later this year. Michelle McLaren obviously is directing. And I don't know if we talked about this before, but they did confirm that she will be the daughter of Zeus in this take. So she'll be a demigod, which is they'll bring in the mythology and just not the crazy convoluted version. They're kind of trimming it down, making it easier to understand. She's kind of like Hercules. Well, I mean, would you rather her be made out of clay, Daniel?
No, it's just it already doesn't fit with everything else, right? Like,
yeah, but like, how else were
you have a Superman? What the fuck is Zeus?
He's a god.
But what? A god of what?
Well, Daniel's the god of the gods.
Just some random god of just the earth that creates. Like, I don't know. It's gonna be convoluted either way. I'm fine with it. I want her to be the daughter of Zeus. It's just.
Well, remember way back when you talked about how the rumor that was that the Amazonians were like they were a distant relative of like the Kryptonians, and that's why they have all these powers, whatever. But
well, you think Zeus is a Kryptonian?
Well, maybe something like that. Maybe they still can make that work, But I don't know how. But like that's definitely something that could still like happen. Even if they just do the mythological side of it, that's still cool to me. That's never bugged me. I mean, it's always just been like...
It's for sure cool, it just doesn't really fit with the rest of the world, but that's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of how all... DC's always been like that, where it's like, every character has their own world, and
they make it fit how they make it fit. It doesn't have to be like it's not an exact perfect puzzle. You know, there's pieces missing. Jared Leto is okay. So Jared Leto is apparently gaining weight to play the Joker in Suicide Squad. I just found that as like a weird. I saw that coming through as a weird thing to say, like how he's like.
That's all it says though. It doesn't say he's gonna get fat or he's gonna put on muscle.
No. It just he said he's hitting the gym a lot and stuff. Like he's putting on muscle for it.
But everyone's making a headline like what gaining weight and like they go click on it.
Well, isn't the last thing he did like Dallas Buyers Club where he was like super skinny?
That was a long time. He's back to his normal skinny stuff now. Yeah.
You didn't see him. I mean, you weren't watching the Oscars. He was at the Oscars. He looked fine. I don't think he needs to gain any weight.
Got a super long Jesus hair and beard. Like, I was hoping he was gonna have like a cut, but I guess they're not filming that movie anytime soon. Or something.
Maybe he's just doing a super long Jesus take on Joker. I just think it's interesting if they do like a jacked version of Joker. That would be different than every other version we've seen. I guess so I guess it can mend that, but it just is. It just seems a little just doesn't fit to me.
I guess they just wanted him to be kind of on par with all these bulky heroes.
He's not going to be jacked, but he's going to be muscular to a certain extent.
Yeah, like the Joker's never been muscular. He's always just been like this tall, lean guy. But
also, the Joker's always been able to hold his own in a fight. Like he surprisingly, you know what I mean?
Like because of his stature, he's not wide. He's just like that tall, jokey, weird, punchy guy.
No, like in fights, it's the only reason he holds his own is because he cheats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kind of.
In a lot of the comics, it's like he has a lot of training. Not when he's facing Batman, but when he's fighting like cops and stuff like that, he's not cheating. He out fights them.
Yeah, but it's not like cool like
it's not an MMA style,
but joking, laughing. Okay, haha, like this happens over here.
But he knows, like he obviously has some sort of training because he knows exactly where to hit them and stuff like that, and how to use his leverage and stuff like that. Yeah. So it makes sense for him to have a little bit of muscle.
I guess I don't know. It's just I'm just excited to see the first. That's the one I'm looking forward to, right? Like, Aquaman, that's awesome, right? Really, we talked about it for like 30 minutes. It's one image, but the one when we see Jared Leto's Joker, though, right? Holy crap! Well, I won't even like. I'm like that's what I'm looking for. That's the image I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. But then even Flash, like we've seen a Flash costume.
But you know what Flash looks like, right?
I know. Well, we know what the Joker looks like. He has white face and green hair.
No, I know, but you can do so many different versions of a Joker. The Flash is really, it's got a red suit, like that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, they can make the red suit look really cool or really bad, that's...
Yeah, that's true. Although...
Joker, anyone can put on Joker makeup and be the Joker.
No, but you could be that guy on Halloween that does the shitty take on it, or you could be the Hollywood version of, like, a very scary... creepy ass clown who's a maniac, murderous.
I'm not too excited to see his Joker actually.
Are you think that Jared Leto's not going to do a good job?
No, I think it's good. I'm just not excited to see the costume. It's not going to change my mind or make me more excited. I can just already picture it. I'm more excited to see a cyborg.
So you can already picture it, but what if it's different than what you're picturing?
It doesn't matter to me because it's just the quintessential Joker stuff. It's just makeup and his.
I don't know. I am a little apprehensive about his Joker.
Like I'm more excited for what the Flash is going to look like based on. Like this Ant-Man costume, this Atom costume. Yeah. What are they going to infuse into this costume to make it look way better than the TV show, which is terrible, except for maybe the mask. Infuse away technology, the lightning bolts, everything like that, right? And then Cyborg, how cool is that going to look like compared to RoboCop or something? And then Green Lantern, compared to the movie they just did, what are they going to do now with the special effects they can do? Because the ones in that movie sucked ass.
I think they have to do a practical suit. It can't be like an all CG suit. I don't think you can do a CG suit. I mean, they've done CG capes.
CG.
They did CG capes for Superman. I hope they do a CG cape for Batman. But
I hope they do like the logo popping out of Green Lantern's chest almost, like in that one comic book run with you.
Yeah, it was like a siren.
Yeah, and like and in the black he put no shadows in it because he wanted to be like space, like black. Like if you touched in there, it was cold. And there was no movement in it; just pure black.
Yeah, but I mean, how does that relate to film? Like you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. Well, it pops out of the page pretty well, and the green just bounces off it so well, and it kind of glows, instead of that muted dark green that we had in 2011.
I mean, if this is the job for costume designers, that's tough. Like that's hard. How do you make Green Lantern's suit on a film? And they tried what they did, and it made sense.
Except the main character, like Sinestro, he had the dark black and the cool muscular, like. Taking the muscles of each alien and how different it was and incorporating it into the suit was an amazing idea. But
It wasn't.
for Green Lantern, they put no black in there. Just a big green, muted, dull green suit with lines everywhere.
Little veins going like.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was no like cool like Sinestro had this cool like triangle V shape on his abdomen.
Well, never mind that. The mask looks so bad.
And the mask was all roundy, and
it looks so bad. Like I can't get over how bad. Like I just think of that scene where he's standing on like the balcony and he's talking to the girl, and she's like Hal, and he's like, what do you mean? And it was like
that was a funny scene.
It's a funny scene, but I was just like I'm thinking about that, like how bad like the suit looked in that scene, and it's like. It's like, what do you think? I wouldn't have noticed it's you because I can't see your cheekbones, which is...
Yeah, that's just making fun of the superhero genre in general. And Batman, actually.
Well, no, I mean, Batman, it's only the bottom of his face that you can see.
Yeah.
Right? That could be anybody.
And also, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are pretty sure they're married. They have a kid, or she's pregnant or something. No,
they must have...
They're actually taped together. Like,
they must have really good chemistry in that film.
It would have been cool if that was successful. And on-screen romance as well, on screen, or off-screen on screen.
So they could have real sex instead of just fake sex.
No.
That's not okay. That's not what you're talking about.
Nope.
So Nightcrawler is returning to X-Men. Cody Smith-McPhee has been cast in Apocalypse, taking over for Alan Cumming, who was previously played him in X2. So that's cool. I mean, everyone likes Nightcrawler, so I'm excited to see more bamfing. Patrick Stewart is going to be in the next Wolverine movie, and it turns out, even though we said in the last podcast that he wasn't going to be back for Apocalypse, him and McKellen will be back for Apocalypse, probably in a very small role, I'd imagine. So that's good. I mean, we obviously like them as the
greatest casted superhero in the world, you said.
I'm worried about how the whole time shifting is going to work.
Wait, was that what we said, Jeremy? That it was the best casting of all time?
No, I don't know where we intended to wear it, but I guess we were drunk and we were just discussing the best casted people like in superhero roles.
I think.
Yeah, and then Ian McKellen's face popped up.
Well, okay, so it's like those two and Wolverine, they're the best.
No, it wasn't Ian McKellen. It was Patrick Stewart. He's the best casted superhero in the world.
Yeah, no, I know that. I don't see. Here's the thing. I love Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Ian McKellen's great as Magneto, but I don't think he's the perfect Magneto by any.
Patrick Stewart's for sure. He was talking about perfect Professor X as Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
You can't argue that.
You can't even think about anybody else. You try to put somebody else in that role, and you can't.
J.K. Simmons.
No.
Oh my God, no, you're right. I mean,
Ian McKellen as an old Magneto though.
Yeah, he does it great.
Here's what I. Yeah, this
that
is
man
the solution,
Wolverine.
right? Assuming by the time that Patrick Stewart has died, we'll be able to recreate people in digital form.
No. But that's why we're talking about this, is because Wolverine and Hugh Jackman is the only person to play him in, what is it, 8 movies now in total?
Something like that.
And so I have a quote talking about that. He said, after watching Birdman, so this is something I was going to throw in later, but after watching Birdman, this is what he said, quote, I said to my wife, the moral is that I should never stop playing Wolverine. I've got to find a way to keep playing him until I die. I know that someday they'll recast the role with another actor. I'd be happy if that role is eventually recast. It would mean that it would become iconic. He's got the right take, I think. I mean, he knows it's going to happen, but he wants to play it as long as he possibly can.
And he's not being a smarmy actor like Christian Bale. Like, exactly. The character, I'm going to retire him now. It's over. We did our piece on him. He's like taking our approach.
He's paying homage to the character.
And he's like, this is cool. I created him, and I feel a sense of duty, and I want to keep doing this character. And with storylines that are in these comic books, and the way he keeps in good shape, like he can keep doing it for a long time, for sure.
That also means that Manu Bennett will never play Wolverine. He's too old.
I know. I'm going to Photoshop him as Wolverine, man.
I'm sure that it exists. I bet you there's if someone's thought it exists on the internet somewhere.
That only applies to porn.
No, that's
that's that rule number 42 or something like that. It's like if it exists, it's a porn. There's a porn of it.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do we have? Arnold Schwarzenegger says he'll be back for future sequels of Genesis. So they haven't even released this one yet, but he's already saying he's going to be back for more.
He's got nothing else to do, so.
Colossus. I should have put this one in earlier. Colossus will be back in Deadpool, but will be recast. So the other guy who played him in X2 and I think he was in X3 too, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won't be back for it as well.
He was also in Days of Future Past.
Oh, yeah. That's right. But he was a very small role.
Prominent role, but he was cast just based on his look, not his acting, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
If they're going to use Colossus in more of an acting role.
Which you'd hope so. Because, do you remember Colossus from the television show in the 90s?
Yeah.
Ilyana! Oh my god, so good. Spielberg would apparently be interested in directing Chris Pratt in an Indiana Jones movie. We kind of gone over how Chris Pratt is like obviously trying to avoid being, typecast as well, kind of like Momoa. So it's unlikely he would take on a role of Indiana Jones, even though that's a huge role,
Well, think about it. Star-Lord
is Indiana Jones in space. Yeah.
Nathan Drake.
Well, yeah, he turned that one down.
I know he turned it down, but he was offered it.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, they're all the same characters.
Yeah. Well,
There's another one I'm missing too.
The one in Jurassic World.
Yeah, and then that guy.
He wears a vest and everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you just took all of his characters that he's already played and just put them all together, you already have Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting that Spielberg was like, yeah, man, like he's like, I can't think of any other actors that could play Indy, but like he's like, yeah, Chris Pratt could do it. So it's the thing, like Indiana Jones is like, is iconic because of who played him, because of Harrison Ford. I don't think that Chris Pratt is like the next Harrison Ford, because I don't think you can have another Harrison Ford, if that makes sense,
I don't know. He's in a lot of shit like that nowadays. This is the year of the Pratt.
And it was last year the year of the McConaughey?
It was the McConaissance, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He even came up and said the all right at that, but was kind of like a callback to last year's callback, which is kind of weird. Anyway, so we've got some television news, not much. There are a lot of comic book stuff. I swear all we talk about is comic book stuff. David Ramsey, he plays John Diggle on Arrow. And people for a while have been speculating that he's actually Jon Stewart from like the Green Lantern that we were just talking about. Well, in an interview, he's not really putting an end to this speculation at all. So when he was asked about it, he said, "I can't say yes and I can't say no. There have been discussions. Not exactly what the quote is. Yeah, there have been discussions, but I can't talk about it." Which is like, well, it's like, what do you mean? So they've actually been talking about that, which means that like the people who thought about that are actually more right than they were wrong. If you say that you can't say yes and you can't say no, it means that someone's already talked about it, and it might already be yes.
But then the studios came out and said he's officially not going to be Jon.
No. This is more recent than that.
I heard that story and this.
When was this new one that you're talking about?
I've heard both of those, like both those. So if the studio says no officially, then that's just the case. He just said you're saying whatever.
No, maybe that's true. I didn't see that, so maybe that's possible. I could be wrong. But the most important one, this isn't a superhero one, is that Nintendo is reportedly, this is the Wall Street Journal, so it's pretty, it's legit, is that Nintendo is bringing Zelda, Legend of Zelda, to Netflix, and that, quote, it's a Game of Thrones for a family audience.
Huh.
Pregnant pause. Okay. What do you mean, huh?
Well, I mean, what do you mean Game of Thrones for a family audience?
So it means...
Yeah, that throws everybody off, so just don't even think about that.
That's what they said. That's a quote from the article of Wall Street Journal.
That's just playing off of that Game of Thrones hype.
Like Game of Thrones movie that came out recently that was Siege or something like that, or some stupid medieval movie. It was like advertised everywhere in ads on IGN and everything. And
I honestly have it was a movie?
Yeah.
The point is, it's a well-established franchise, and people know what Legend of Zelda is. If you set a movie in Hyrule, in a fantasy world, of course it would be like Game of Thrones.
I don't know about of course, just because it's in a fantasy world.
That movie I'm talking about is called Seventh Son. Haven't you seen the trailer?
Oh, okay, yeah. You said
it's like kind of a campy, medieval.
Really shitty,
yeah, that's what it reminds me of. A family Game of Thrones show is like that movie.
Yeah.
If it's like that, then I'm not for it. But if it's like,
what do you think it's going to be like?
Well, I mean, Lord of the Rings is not not a family movie. You know what I mean? You know,
I mean, there's decapitations and stuff. I feel like it's not a family.
yeah, no, I know, but you don't see blood splurting out of the tops of their heads and stuff.
You don't see any boobies. That's why it's not.
No, exactly that too. You're not gonna get you're not gonna see Zelda's tits, Dan. Okay, sorry. Okay.
One day.
Well, no, just like I said, rule number 42. Just go Google it.
Oh, trust me.
No, like.
Who do you think made that shit?
What do you mean?
Never mind. Just keep going.
Well, I'm just saying.
Joke about me making Zelda porn.
The idea.
Jon Snow was in Seventh Son. Seventh Son.
The idea of having a Zelda, like, television series is pretty cool to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's good news.
Yeah, but, okay, like, pitch me an idea. How would you do the story? Like, what would be the story? Would you do Ocarina of Time?
Not initially, no. Like, you start basic, right? Because it's going to be a family show. So you start, Zelda's been kidnapped. Yeah. You're just Link going to save her. Like, nothing too complicated with the Ocarina and all that bullshit.
Why not?
I haven't delved deeper into it because they're not just do one season and it's done. You know,
no, of course.
Repeat it all the time, so it's going to be a long, lengthy thing.
Yeah, and then like, he goes and he meets the Gorons and all this stuff. And it's you focus, at first it's Link in his little cookery village. And he has all his little friends, and it's all fucking.
So it's literally just a cookie cutter plot right out of the game. And how do you make that? How do you make that into a series?
There's no way to know what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, it's very early. We're talking very early.
What it means to me when they say something is like Game of Thrones, I think first of like the political side of it, right? So you have Link in his village, not really connected to the larger world, and then Zelda in the royal capital. Maybe Ganondorf's there. He's sort of like the Rasputin of this world, right? He comes in and he's this magic user who.
Would you say he's the lover of the Russian queen?
Parents. Sorry.
Would you say he's the lover of the Russian queen?
I said Rasputin, and
no, I know what you're saying. Continue. I just had the song stuck in my head as soon as you said that. Continue.
I don't know. I'm seeing Ganondorf more as being connected to the royal court at first, and then working like he has machinations towards marrying Zelda. But this is the thing. It's a kids show.
So okay, all right. So there you go. So no, but what you just described does sound like Game of Thrones, and you could easily do that without having decapitations and nudity. There's no reason.
Sure, but like.
Not kids.
What happens to actually set things in motion? Because that's going to be.
People can die.
I feel like Harry Potter almost too, right? With Voldemort and Harry Potter, their connection that's kind of very distant, and it doesn't, in and out. Maybe you know what I mean.
So it's like Ganondorf decimated Link's village because they're going to connect the Triforce, right? So
yeah, right. So
it's not just about the village; it's about Hyrule in general.
Yes. So like whatever Ganondorf did when he's on his conquest, he imparted like Voldemort gave Harry Potter the lightning scar. Ganondorf gave Link the Triforce scar,
courage,
if you want to call it.
Yeah. So I mean, like, because the three of them are all connected, even though they're all so separate, right?
Search for these answers from these clues that he has.
I mean, there's been plenty of games there. There's definitely plenty of content there for them to
to draw from. Yeah. So they're looking for a writer right now. It's very early. But I mean, it's gonna be a Netflix.
Interesting stuff. Cool. I don't know.
And it's the same like struggle they had with the Mario movie. You know what I mean? Like you're taking a cartoonish character with who doesn't speak and like.
But this is so much easier than that, though.
It's a bit easier because the context is like a medieval world.
Exactly, and it's already like a sweeping epic.
Yeah, but based on what we know from Zelda, it's just gonna be so different from what we know, and it's gonna be met with a lot of critique.
Yeah, I mean, different doesn't necessarily mean worse, though. So I'm fine with that.
Sure.
I mean, I like the idea. I just don't like that they're calling it a Game of Thrones for
and Zelda could very well be the most beloved game franchise of all time, especially among older.
Overall, you think?
Yeah, like the older generation of people in the 30s. Absolutely, Zelda was like.
I think that's got to go to Mario. It's got to be Mario.
In terms of game world where you can explore and learn things, like Mario is like just a game, right? Zelda is like these epic adventures that these guys, people had back in the day, and it's resonated with them throughout life. It's very special to a lot of people.
I can see that.
I mean, I don't think I've played a full Zelda game since
Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight Princess. Yeah.
I just popped in Wind Waker the other day. It's pretty sweet.
You bought the remastered version?
Yeah. I bought the HD remaster.
That's really cool. That's probably my favorite. It's probably it's probably my favorite of them.
Pretty fun, yeah.
I mean, I would love to play.
What did you do?
I'd say that Wind Waker is probably my favorite of all like the Zeldas. And the last one that I fully played all the way through was Twilight Princess.
Huh.
But I would love to replay it because when I played it, I was sitting in the back seat of a car playing on a tiny, tiny, tiny television. like so small. So and it was black and white. Again, that's I played most of the game that way.
Which game?
Wind Waker.
What the heck?
That's
I
weird.
played it on like a 6-inch
like,
black
really
and white
pops
television.
too.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably the only Zelda game you can actually play in black and white because of the way like his eyes move and how everything's very like one or two colors, right? So you can actually get an idea like where you actually are. If everything was too busy, you'd have a really hard time, I think, if you're trying to play in black and white.
The only one I finished was like Phantom Hourglass on the DS, which is a playoff of Wind Waker, like in terms of style and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
You should definitely get Link. What's the one that just came out? Link's for the DS, Link's Awakening or
no. Majora's Mask remake just came out.
no, I know, but the one before that, the
I
top-down
think
one.
that's a very underrated game.
Yeah,
Everybody loves Ocarina, but
I have it on my Wii Virtual Console, and I just bought the remaster, and I'm probably gonna play the remaster because the graphics are a lot better and they've tuned things. But A Link Between Worlds,
Yes, that's the
is
one.
a DS game where they kind of did a play on Link to the Past, which is arguably the best Zelda game of all time.
a lot of people say
And I haven't popped that one in yet, but I have it. I want to play it. I have like every Zelda game. I just don't want to. I don't know what it is. I'm
It's
like,
one of those things.
Game
Jerry
Pass?
just buys everything.
it's a daunting task.
Yeah, it's
They
a
take
daunting
while.
task. Do I want to save them when like, like for the apocalypse or something? You know? I'm trapped in my house and there's nothing for me to do.
You'd be like that in the
These-
Twilight Zone episode.
No.
Your glasses are gonna break when you
Yeah.
try to plug them in for the first time.
Or just like the internet. So the internet just like breaks. Like, there's no internet. There's no TV.
How are you gonna access all your
radio.
virtual console games?
You're just gonna sit there
I'm
like,
just
I
gonna
finally
play
have
my-
time for all my games.
Yeah.
The electricity's gonna go.
Yeah.
Oh my god, these are the things that Jeremy thinks about, by the way.
Yeah.
He thinks about
Absolutely.
why.
No, I just know that Zelda is such a loved franchise, and every time I see the game, it's discounted or whatever, I always buy them. I want to experience them, but like you said, they're very long, very
Yeah.
daunting,
Yeah.
and I really want to invest my time in them. And I can't even do that these days, man. Like I don't even play video games anymore. I buy it like the big game every now and then, and play the Walking Dead game. Like that's it. And
So
Smash
speaking
Bros.
of big games, Order 1886 just came out.
Yeah.
It's apparently not very short, but short enough that I think it would fit right into that. I'm thinking of buying it. Remember I was saying, I can't play all
I've
these
heard
games.
it's really
because-
shitty though. Like I heard, like in terms of gameplay, like it looks beautiful, but
Yeah.
the gameplay really
I
sucks.
heard the
I'm gonna
gameplay's
buy it.
okay.
I haven't bought it yet. I'm gonna buy it 100%.
Yeah.
I want to.
Well, I
support.
mean, wait till it gets discounted then.
I don't know, man. Like the graphics are so good.
It looks beautiful. It's also all in letterbox, right?
Yeah.
The game is in letterbox, not just the cutscenes.
Yeah.
So because it's a cover shooter, so when you go into cover, you can't see over the cover
No,
because
really.
it's in letterbox.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of issues and flaws, but just based on how gorgeous it is, the acting in the game, they did the
And the
Uncharted
monsters look
thing
really cool.
where they acted with each other with capture and
Mocap.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I just want to support like a exclusive.
It's a cool idea. It's just they fell short. I'll
Yeah.
get it when it gets
the
discounted.
next
I'm not
next
gonna
game they
spend
make
full
it
price
is
on that.
like another order
Yeah,
game,
keep going for sure.
like a different year or something.
1887.
Also, one of their sniping missions is on rails. Like you don't even get to aim. It just
And there's
goes
two
for you, like, fuck
chapters
that.
currently where it's just cutscenes, but I'm used to that from
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid.
4.
I don't mind long cutscenes if I'm immersed in the story. That's fine. I'm
Yeah.
in for that. That's what I love. But
Yeah, I think we all agree. Like, if it's a good, everyone says, like, if it's a good game, then whatever. You paid $70, it's a good game.
they earn their
But
money.
it's also like if you're waiting on this game, and you're looking so much forward to it, and it's only 5 hours.
Well, it's only It's supposed to be 10. It's 10 hours, I think.
I think it's 8 to 10 for the average
Yeah.
person. That's that.
Yeah.
Daniel beat Uncharted 3 in a day, so
Yeah.
like whatever.
Yeah, but how great is that game, though? Right? I mean, so you
I
can't.
honestly don't think it's that great.
You don't think Uncharted 3 is that great?
Like I know it's great. Uncharted
No,
2 is the better game.
Yeah, we talked about this.
They're
Uncharted
both
3 is
great
technically a better game, but
Sorry?
if we talked about this before, remember, like how Uncharted 3 is technically the better game, and if Uncharted 3 came out where Uncharted 2 came out, we'd be saying that about Uncharted 3.
No, I mean
Because
we
they're
we
both
talked
really
about it.
good
Doesn't mean
games.
we had the final say on it. I still
No,
disagree
that
with
makes
you.
sense. I think 3 took the more cinematic approach, and
Yes.
2 was more of a gamey game.
Yeah.
So whenever I say my favorite game of all time is Resident Evil 4 or Uncharted 2, it's because those are video games.
It's the best
with-
game of
Yeah,
the series.
but it has those cinematic movie-like
Yeah.
qualities that we want. But it's so gamey. You know what I mean?
It's the best hybrid of the.
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
it's like that whole thing on the train. Like, how good is that, right?
Yeah, but The Last of Us did the same thing, but they did the cinematic stuff so good that I don't know. It's like the perfect hybrid between
Well,
both.
I would say
50-50.
Uncharted 3 went over the top with their cinematics.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why people don't like it as much.
So when they learned from that, and Last of Us wasn't over the top. It's not these crazy cinematics where you're walking across a desert for however long. You know, where you're going pressing forward on.
Well, there are moments where you're just walking and talking, but the balance of them are so well done, and the graphics, at the time of the PS3, like it's so good. Favorite video game, it's always like a gamey game like Mario or or Metroid. And then Resident Evil 4 and stuff like that.
And then Resident Evil 4.
Action, and it was just gamey and no cinematic to it, you know what I mean? So
five had a bit. 6 is
a little bit, but it went to the Call of Duty crowd, right?
Yeah.
Which I'll mention now too, that the Resident Evil HD remaster has sold the best Capcom digital sale of all time, and the fastest selling on.
I know a lot of people
PS4
that jumped on that.
Yeah.
Really?
So what I'm hoping is that Capcom notices. They re-release Zero, maybe looking to Resident Evil 2 remake, but most importantly, bring the series back to its roots, back to real survival horror. IPs. Screw the Call of Duty type Resident Evil 5 and 6, and go back to that.
Yeah,
the remaster show that you should do that.
And Grim Fandango did sell all right as well, right? And that's another set camera angle, tank controlled style game.
Which game?
Grim Fandango.
Oh yeah.
That also just was remastered and re-released.
It'd be interesting, and especially because we're so used to games that aren't like that. It would probably be a breath of fresh air, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a long hiatus.
So let's continue on the video game kick here for a bit. So old 3DS, the original 3DS, not the new 3DS. It's very confusing. Is getting Amiibo support this summer, so that wasn't confirmed, but confirmed now. And Amiibos will be unlocking Virtual Console trials soon as well. That's pretty cool. So you buy a Metroid amiibo and you can play Metroid. Yeah, you could. Yeah, excuse me.
The Smash Bros. Video game already has all the trials for mostly all the characters.
Okay.
So it's a 2 to 3 minute whatever. But maybe the amiibos will be the first.
Yeah, they only have the most popular ones. There'll be other ones too.
No, Duck Hunt just got released on the.
I'm pretty sure Fire Emblem doesn't have one on Smash Bros. Right?
No.
Yeah. So how would you do that?
They have one Wii game. They don't have any. I guess do they have what's the NES? I can't remember.
They must. I mean, I don't know the.
No, they don't have any American versions.
Yeah.
Once Melee came out with Marth and Roy wasn't even in a Fire Emblem game yet. He was in Melee to hype the next Fire Emblem game up. And then ever since the popularity from the GameCube, every Fire Emblem game has been released in Japan and over here.
Doesn't matter because Jeremy doesn't use amiibos for anything but trophies on his shelf. So.
But that's what they're for.
I don't care for their. I thought I was going to, and I was disappointed in buying them when I had them. But then when I started seeing them amassed, kind of on my shelf, I just thought it was super cool seeing them all together.
But it seriously does look like the table from the Melee version when you beat All-Star mode.
I have my systems and game boxes beside it. It was exactly what happened.
Yeah, it looks like the little chimey music.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a good thing or. So wait, Jeremy. So it's fine that you're collecting them.
Yeah.
The good thing about amiibos is that if you have them, they will unlock stuff in other games too. So it's I've
unlocked my Mario costumes for my Mii character, so I can wear a Mario jumpsuit on my Mii character, stuff like that. But that stuff is lame to me right now.
Yeah, but who knows how that stuff's gonna change as amiibo?
Oh, absolutely. The game trials is a step in the right direction because getting demos of these old school games with these figurines.
Do you ever try to pick one up and drop it so that it lands like they do in the?
Yeah.
So
when you a coin,
do, and then it fell over. But you want to kind of roll the rim, you know? Yeah, there you go.
Congratulations!
There's a pretty cool YouTube channel called The Game Theorists, and this guy has a 14-minute video of the theory of the story of Smash Bros. 1 to...
really?
That's definitely a theory.
Smash 4?
Yeah.
About what's the creator's name again?
Of Smash Bros?
Yeah, you're not going to know. You're terrible at names. And just his personal battle, about trying to let the series go, but it's his baby, and it's all through Master Hand, and what does that mean?
Crazy.
It's pretty cool. So, The Game Theorist.
Huh. I don't know if that's it's very much a theory. It's very.
Oh yeah, it's only a theory. That's their disclaimer. It's just opinion and theory. It's a cool, interesting video. But yeah, amiibos are sweet. Every time I see a new one, I'm gonna buy it for sure. But
do you have a Marth?
No, I'll never get a Marth.
Man, Marth.
But apparently, because of There's a DS game, or a 3DS game.
Coming out. That's the Fire Emblem one?
No, Dean something. Anyway.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, so Marth and Ike are playable skins or something, or characters in the game. So I think they're going to re-release their amiibos maybe in the future.
Let's hope so. I mean, because everyone knows that Martha's the best character in Smash Bros. So they should have lots.
Well,
more.
not for the reasons you're thinking about, but for competitive reasons.
He's really good. There's a lot of
Marth and
motherfuckers.
Fox are the number one characters in Melee, which is the most competitive Smash Bros. Game.
So let's move on a little bit more. DC Comics is ending the New 52. So we kind of were speculating about this last podcast.
Technically, they're just taking away the watermark on the cover.
Yeah, so it's like they're ending
So
the
again,
imprint.
with these stupid titles that people throw out to make you think something else, to click on it. That's what this is.
It's just no longer going to be called the New 52.
Yeah.
It's just DC Comics.
And then you click on the article and it says they're just removing the watermark. Because,
Well, no, and they're also not going to have... So the whole thing with the 52 is that there's 52 comics, right? A month.
Yeah,
And
but it's just the brand, though, too. And
yeah, so now it's 40-something, 41 comics. They don't have to be stuck to having 52 comics.
Yeah.
And really, how long could it be the New 52? I mean,
exactly. It's been like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, it's like the kind of new 52, the slightly new, getting old 52.
Exactly.
You can't really keep using that. So that's fine. So starting June 24th, new comics will be introduced. 25 ongoing comics will continue.
How many fucking new Batman comics do you think there'll be?
Well, there's a Batman Beyond one, so there's that
Wow.
one. Why does that bother you?
How many
You
total
don't-
Batman comics are there?
in the line?
Like 8?
There's probably more than that, actually. There's probably more than that. I mean, there's like three main ones alone that are just like Batman centric, right? You have like Batman, you have Detective Comics, and then you have there's one other one. I can't remember the name of it, but those are the 3 main ones. And then you have like, then if you include like Batman and Robin, and you include like Nightwing, and you include all the characters that are like in the Batman family, there's probably like 15.
Ridiculous.
Well, it's fun. It's okay if you like Batman. Batman's the number one character, man. He's probably the most popular comic book character. Like, probably right now, it's probably the most popular comic book character. I mean, I can't think of, maybe Spider-Man's maybe more popular. Like maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know though.
kind of on par, I would say, but Batman is winning. You're right.
But yeah, like, so it makes sense. I mean, those are pretty much the only books I read. I mean, that and Justice League and the odd other one here and there. I haven't read in a while, so I need to get back into it.
Jeremy booted up his Wii version of the Melee so he can show me the trophy screen.
So did he set the trophies in the order of how they're set on the table?
No, but he's like,
you can't do that.
No, but you could if you wanted.
The shelf had the trophies, and then there's a 64, and then he's pointing at his N64.
Why does he feel? What do you feel the need
It's
to
like
do
a
this
Game Boy Advance.
In the box, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Why do you got to feel the need to do this in the middle of the show?
so, I don't know. If there was a figurine of every single one of those, I'd probably buy it.
Yeah, but now that's like because you have a problem.
Yeah.
And like, to be clear, he's talking about like Lackey 2.
No.
Like,
I would buy the 3 versions of every character, so the All-Star,
yeah.
Classic, and Adventure.
That's right.
Which is already kind of happening with Mario Party 10,
Yeah.
comes out this spring. And there's new amiibos for every character. So there's a Toad, so I'll buy a Toad to get it in there with those guys.
Yeah.
Mario has a different pose, so it's like a different pose from Classic or All-Star or Adventure.
There's a new Bowser. There's a new Peach. So hey guys, there's gonna be no Drive. They're still not saying that there's gonna be a Drive Club, the free PS Plus version that they promised us. Still not promising that. They're like, maybe not. We're not sure. So that's great.
I don't know, that doesn't really affect me.
Well, it's just annoying. Like,
Doesn't matter if it doesn't affect me.
yeah, like because you don't play racing games really.
Driving games are all a bunch of crap.
Well, Daniel, it's so funny because you know the first game I saw you ever play on your PS2 when I came over to your house.
Probably Gran Turismo.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Gran Turismo, like, I don't even know what the name of it was.
Yeah, but guess what? That's because that's all I had. And yet I had one racing game, and then I played another one maybe a few months or a year later, and it felt like the same game to me. And then I was like, nah.
So wait, you haven't played a racing game?
No, I've played them. I've played them at people's houses and like whatever. But like the only one that's fun is Mario Kart is fun, and Burnout's kind of fun. Other than that, who cares?
Okay, well, I'm just saying that people were excited for that. It was promised. It was like, yeah, Drive Club launch game for the PS4.
Yeah.
It's gonna be free, and then with with PS Plus and blah blah blah. Nope. Still, game came out a year and a half later. Still no PS Plus version, and they're saying that they're not even sure if it's ever gonna come out, which is like that's bullshit. You can't tell people that and then just backpedal. You know, especially when your game launched with so many problems.
Yeah, I care more about the broken promise than do about the game.
Yeah.
Exactly. What else? I also have Arkham Knight. It's been rated M. All the previous games have been rated T. They're saying that it's pretty much the idea is that they had a story they wanted to tell, and some of those scenes that were involved in that story made it an M, and they weren't willing to cut any of those to make it a T. And I can respect that. They had a vision. They want to maintain that vision, and that quote Bruce Wayne will be at his darkest as we've ever seen him. So that's pretty cool.
I was listening to a thing like they didn't design the game specifically to be an M rating.
No,
game.
Of course not.
They did it, and they were actually surprised by the rating. But they're also like, we're not going to change anything. If that's the rating, then that's what it is, and we'll
they're going to sell crazy no matter what. So
I mean, that's to me that's attractive. I prefer a darker version of that game. I prefer a more mature version of any Batman story, right? But
sure, I mean,
they are kind of cutting a bit of their demographic out.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, really, Dan, how many 17-year-olds can't buy? Like, how many 17-year-olds can't buy an M-rated game? It's like
nowadays it's not a 17-year-old. It's like 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, nowadadas it's different. I don't know.
I mean, when I was a kid, I got my mom to rent me Conker's Bad Fur Day.
But your mom had no idea.
Yeah, but of course she had no idea. I had no idea. I didn't know that it was going to be
that one's different. You see a squirrel or whatever on the box.
Yeah, I think nowadays also though parents by nature have to be more
Yeah, my mom didn't know. We went to the store and bought Resident Evil 4. She had to go there with me because I knew I couldn't get it on my own, and she just saw it and was like, "Hey, whatever."
Yeah, I know people whose parents actually looked at the ratings. I don't believe mine.
I think nowadays parents would.
Well, they have to. It's like when we were kids, they looked at the ratings of movies, and you wouldn't be allowed to rent an R-rated movie. They just didn't understand that games could be like that.
Parents nowadays, I think they're just more conscious of like ratings and what's good.
Because it's so much a part of their kid's life.
So what else? Oh, so they're doing a novelization of Arkham Knight. They're going to turn the game into a novel. That does not happen very often, I don't think.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
You know, I'd be interested to read that to see how
of just an Arkham Knight game, not all three or anything like that.
Yeah, it's just the Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight story. So it's like, first of all, how thick of a novel are we talking here? Like, you're not going to be like reading a section where you'd be facing off against a group of thugs, and then another group of thugs comes out and describing how he goes through each character and breaks each one's arm. You know, that's not going to be a part of it. So I don't know how long this game is going to be. If you can turn the story into a novel, that's pretty cool. But
you flesh it out.
I guess. I mean, does that extra content then become canon, or is that?
It's not about extra content. It's about you're playing a game, even though you're playing as Batman. You don't have an internal monologue. You don't have his actual his thinking and stuff like that. That takes up space on a page.
Don't they play that stuff though? Don't they usually show you what you're thinking?
They do not.
Yes, they do. In certain parts. It'll be
you might hear Kevin Conroy talk, but that's not the same thing.
No. You can tell when it's in his head because it'll zoom in on something and it'll be he's like, I should do this or I should do that, but he's not talking to someone. He's just talking to himself.
Okay, but that's different than the way novels work, right?
No, I know.
It fills up pages having him actually explain his surroundings and give everything context. I can see it.
It would just be interesting because I don't think that's.
I think Arkham Knight could have been a novel if they really wanted to.
Yeah, probably.
How many people would buy it, but.
You just don't see you don't really see novelizations of most comic books stories anyway, right? Because it's already a comic, it's already written on a page just with pictures. It's just interesting taking a game into a book instead of a book into a movie into a game, which you probably more likely see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully that's a good sign for the story. They really believe in it.
What else? Only a couple things here. So I mentioned the thing about Hugh Jackman. George Lucas provided Disney. This is old. This is about a couple weeks old now. George Lucas provided Disney with his plans for episodes 7, 8, and 9, and that he said in an interview that they took his stuff and said, "Thanks, George. We really appreciate your help." And pretty much just threw it out and made up all their own stuff.
Awesome.
Which I think is really funny. I think he's kind of pissed off about it, and he's kind of begrudged. Hey, I had a plan. I have this weird thing in my head where there's alternate timelines in Star Wars where in George's head there's like his version of how Star Wars, and he created it, right? So how the first 3, because he made all the first 6, right? How the last 3 would go and how that story continues and ends, right? But then there's like the story we're going to see that's going to be different from what's going on in George's head, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, which is the true Star Wars story? Is it the one that goes onto the film? I guess. But George Lucas created it, and he had an idea for how 7, 8, 9 should be, but we're not going to see it. Isn't that weird?
I think we're probably better off.
Well, not necessarily.
Just considering the way the sequel or the prequel trilogy went.
He was really, really involved in Clone Wars, and Clone Wars, especially towards the end of it, got really, really good. So,
yeah, I mean, that being said, like the first 3 were great, and he did a good job. But there's a lot of like campy parts and a lot of really goofy parts that I feel like, judging from the trailers and stuff, I mean, it's still early, but we're gonna probably miss out on a lot of that stuff, which I'm okay with.
Well, I mean,
I don't need a stinging stick lips.
I still think it's wrong to be like, "Okay, well, thank you," and then too bad we're not using any of this because he invented Star Wars.
Yes,
yeah,
it's his baby.
Probably the craziest, like at the time, the craziest thing ever.
But what do? You can't just it's like because he's also the kind of person that's all or nothing, right? So you either take his ideas or don't. You can't take pieces.
Well, I don't know, but I think they should work out something where they incorporate certain aspects of his vision and go with that.
I think when Disney bought it, they were kind of hoping to give him a paycheck, and I'm sure he got a huge paycheck and have him stay quiet and just mind his own business.
No, I guess, but like you have to understand, this is like Jeremy said, this is his baby. Like if you're watching something, you created this, you've made literally every Star Wars thing up until now, right?
Yeah, for himself, yes, but like just knowing that he created this world that everyone adores. Why wouldn't you just let him or listen? Just listen.
I'm sure they listen to us.
Well, they took his stuff. He gave them his ideas.
Yeah, so they don't know for sure.
Also, when you make this kind of stuff, is it not you're making it for other people? You're not making it for yourself.
Yeah.
So, if your ideas aren't working,
well, that's not always true either, though, because a lot of filmmakers, a lot of people in art make stuff for themselves and then hope that other people like it. You know, like that's very common.
Yeah.
So,
but there's also a lot of controversy behind that.
Yeah.
A lot of people would disagree.
So art should be made for other people and that because other people are consuming it, but if you're the artist, shouldn't you be making it because you want to make it and it should be for you and self-fulfillment and not
I think
that's philosophical debate.
To different degrees.
He made what he wanted to make, you know what I mean? So, but just let him be like a guide for it. That's all. Not control.
A consultant. Yeah.
Consultant. Perfect word.
He should have some sort of he should have some bearing on it. But then he's going to get to the point where he wants to control it.
Yeah. But we're at the point in time where these movies are so old. The fan base is incredibly huge.
Mm-hmm.
These people live and breathe Star Wars. You know, it's almost like they're at this time in their life where they know what they need to do with the series to recapture what George did back in the day. You know what I mean? I think it's like a perfect concoction right now with the people making this film and writing it. They're going to recapture that imagination and going to blow everybody away. That's what I'm hoping for.
And you think he wouldn't have been able to do that? Or do you think he would take no for the last
three? Well, he already had his chance, right?
He's too close to it.
He already had his chance, and but just let him talk. Like, just listen to him. That's it. He created this thing that
he has insight that nobody else has into the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what is so great about the Star Wars universe is that it's so huge and intricate, is that you can create these other characters and other things that just fit into it and they feel natural. They don't have to be exactly like what we already saw, right?
The way that first trilogy played out is just I don't know, man. Like I kind of revisited them recently. They're just incredible.
They work. They're a perfect saga together.
I you said you just revisited the original trilogy. I just saw the end. I was like flipping through channels and I saw about halfway through episode 2. And
don't do that.
No, I know, but I just watched. I finished watching it. It's been forever since when was the last time you watched Attack of the Clones? You know, which by the way, terrible name for a movie, Attack of the Clones. Not a good one. It's been a while, but
better War of the Clones.
No, it has. Just don't put clones in the title.
Some clone uprising or something like that.
Why does that have to be anything to do with clones? The clones are barely in it. They're only
They're
there
a
for
clone army.
Clone is
They're
cool.
an army of clones. It It is quite literally an attack of clones.
Yeah, I know.
And the cartoon you love so much is all about the Clone Wars.
No, I know. I like
Clone
clones.
is a perfect word for that.
And also, too, in the original trilogy, they did reference the Clone Wars a lot, so they had to actually hype up the clone aspect, because otherwise they would look like just like stormtroopers.
Yeah, they mentioned in the first film, right? Like when he's talking to Obi-Wan, and does Obi-Wan mention the Clone Wars like almost right away?
The great mistake.
In episode 4.
The great mistake of the new trilogy or whatever is the connections George tried to make to the old movie.
It was too much, Too many.
And the number one was Boba Fett's dad or whatever.
Django.
Or there's the fact that Anakin surprisingly made C-3PO.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so messed up.
But I think he was trying to appease the fans because Boba Fett is a huge, so popular. For how long is he in those movies? Like so short,
barely any.
But he's just so cool because he's the bounty hunter.
So that's fan service, but that's to the nth degree.
But he didn't realize what he was doing though. He thought he was enriching the character.
Well,
but
and then even Jabba the Hutt's in episode 1. You don't really need that. It's whatever.
Yeah, I'm a pod racer. And it's like that whole story doesn't have to be there, and I don't know.
That one was unique though, and cool for kids to see.
Exactly. I played that pod racer game.
Not a good game.
Pod racing thing. I was in my seat watching that when I was younger, and we were, I guess, fortunate enough to be young for the Phantom Menace, so we have a different take on it. Maybe
I love
now we know a bit more that it was kind of all over the place. But
is it your favorite of the prequels, Jeremy? Or you changed your mind on that?
I'm basing it off my original viewing and what Star Wars meant to me. You know what I mean? And how exciting it was.
It's so weird because when I think back,
all three of those movies, obviously, the last one is the best.
Yeah. When I think back to those, Star Wars. I understood it, and I knew what it was. Everyone knew what Star Wars was, but I wasn't so excited for Episode 1, right? I knew what Star Wars was, but it didn't mean to me then what it does to me now. To me, Star Wars now is so important to me. I think it's super cool, amazing. But back then, it's just another cool movie to watch.
When Star Wars came out,
no, but I distinctly remember seeing.
We had our own exploration and discovery of it for ourselves.
I think I'm pretty lucky. But my mom and uncle made sure that I had that. They sat me down and made me watch.
I distinctly
we've all discovered in our own childhood, but I'm saying to be alive and old enough when it actually came out.
Yes.
To me, I think I actually became more invested in Star Wars by the time between episodes 2 and 3, when I was able to for sure be able to appreciate it and then understand the connections between the third film and the rest of the movies, and had seen the 4, 5, 6 more times, because when I was a kid and I'd seen episode 1, how old were we when episode 1 came out? Couldn't have been that old, maybe 15,
11 or so.
Yeah, maybe, younger than 15. It's like you're talking you've only been alive 11 years. You don't understand anything about these things. You just think it's cool, and now you understand why it's so cool. That's the difference. Anyway, let's move on from Star Wars for a bit. Move on to the last story here. Mortal Kombat X, so 10 might include Spawn and Predator.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Those are the coolest characters to include, man.
They're pretty cool, but I mean, I would hope that one of them, not both.
Predator though, right? For sure.
I don't know. I think I'd take Spawn.
Really? Wasn't Spawn in that Soul Calibur game?
Character.
Spawn fits with the Mortal Kombat universe.
But remember,
Spawn was in a Soul Calibur game.
It was for the GameCube one was Link, the Xbox one was Yoda or Darth Vader.
But the PS one was a character
Spawn.
It was a character
Spawn. There was Spawn was in one of them, for sure.
That came out later.
Yeah, the Spawn was after them.
Okay, but either way, that's cool though.
He works. Either one would work. The Spawn makes a bit more sense.
I think because Freddy Krueger is a really great character included.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even when Mortal Kombat 9 came out, I wanted more actual Mortal Kombat characters, and there are plenty that they're omitting.
But you have to understand why they're doing it, right? It's
I do. I'm actually really into the story right now. It takes place 25 years after Mortal Kombat 9, and there are plenty of characters who died, but Kung Lao is in the game, even though he was obviously dead in the last one. There's Rico, there's Tonya, there's tons of Mortal Kombat characters they could use, and I hope they do. And they still have, I think, at least 12 characters to reveal before the game comes out in a month and a bit. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
So we can almost wrap it up. I'll just go on to what we've been watching, what we've been playing, if anything. We had 3 weeks. I imagine you've seen something. The last thing I saw in The Flash, last week's The Flash episode, had it was really much like a Firestorm backdoor pilot, and it was really cool. And they're starting to really introduce time travel. Like Barry's he understands that he was at his mother's when his mother died, but an older version of him, and it's just getting so comic booky and so awesome that I'm like, I just every time I see it, I'm just smiling the whole time. And that's a key. I don't know if you guys noticed. If I'm liking something, I'm just smiling the whole time.
Yep.
And then Star Wars Rebels in the last episode brought in Grand Moff Tarkin, and the same guy who played him in Rebels or in Clone Wars was playing him. Very awesome, really cool. You have really classic Star Wars cinematography and shots. You have the Imperial March, and now they've done it it's a 3-part finale, but they've now done the middle part, not as awesome, but still pretty cool. And then they're gonna have the finale next week. That is have Darth Vader in it. So and apparently some other big reveals, but I'm excited. I can't speak enough. I can't speak enough of how much I like Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars Clone Wars. I can't.
And Star Wars in general.
And so, we already talked about that about 5 minutes ago. And you guys been watching anything? Playing anything?
I not much. I haven't had a lot of time, but I picked up Arrow. I started watching Arrow a lot.
Ah, sweet! Finally.
I know. I'm fucking loving it. It's a great show.
Finally, hallelujah!
Oh, shit.
Just
Why didn't you guys tell me?
It's don't forget Batman show.
It's
now.
perfect. It's awesome. I'm almost to
guys
season 1.
on criminals, killing them.
It's fantastic.
So you're at the part where it starts getting really good, because halfway through season 1 is where it starts to really pick up, and then it just season 2 is
You kept saying that the season 1 started slow, and I had that in the back of my mind, and maybe that's why I enjoyed it. It surprised me. I enjoyed it a lot. Every single episode of season 1 was awesome.
There's just really cheesy parts at the first half of season 1. It's real, yes.
Well made though.
It's perfect.
Everything's perfect in it.
They start with they have voiceovers at the first couple episodes, where it's
flashbacks,
and they automatically just throw those out that's not working. And then it's very much so much of Batman Begins ripoff at that part too, and they really move away from that.
Well, you have to draw those comparisons because that's what we know, and that's fine. That's there. What else are they going to do?
They're both billionaire playboys that also are vigilantes. Exactly. I guess, but still.
Rotate with Flash and Arrow though, you know what I mean?
Well, I think once, because I know Flash is kind of introduced in Arrow. Yeah. Once it gets to that point, I might go try to do that. But
characters go back and forth too a lot.
You just finish season 2, and then once you get about halfway through season 3, then the Flash gets introduced, and then halfway through season 2. Yeah, season 2, because they're in season 3 now. So it's halfway through season 2, the Flash gets introduced, and then the beginning of season 3 of both shows has them both running concurrently.
Huh. So I'm loving every minute of it.
I can't believe it's taking you this long. It's actually
there's that, and then also my girlfriend and I we like to have shows that we watch together, whatever. And so we picked
whatever. Spartacus?
Fucking season 1 of Spartacus is fantastic.
Daniel, season 1 of Spartacus is the best season of that.
I don't know why we don't talk about this more. It's amazing.
Well, Daniel, and maybe the reason you like Arrow so much is because half the cast of Spartacus is.
No, not yet. Only 1. Maybe 2.
There's at one point there's 5, I think 5 or 6.
It's both of these shows. I'm just loving.
Just a side note: the showrunner for Spartacus is doing Daredevil. So
Stephen DeKnight. Dan's like, this is a perfect trifecta of everything I love.
We keep forgetting about it, but once we start seeing the show, we're going to see some, aspects of Spartacus.
Hopefully, yeah.
I'm watching everything. I'm watching Flash, Agent Carter,
Gotham at all?
Gotham. I'm watching. I think it's pretty good.
You like it?
Yeah. Better Call Saul. I watched the first episode.
Oh yeah.
I think it's free on PlayStation actually, PS4 store.
Huh. I'll look at
yeah, Gotham's getting really good.
I kind of fell behind on Gotham. I just last night watched the Scarecrow episode. I thought that was actually pretty cool.
It was cool. I actually didn't even care for the Scarecrow parts of it.
Oh, I thought the way that they introduced the idea of the fear toxin was interesting.
And Flash is probably my favorite. I look forward to it every week.
Hands down, it's by far of all the superhero shows, Flash is just kicking so much ass. It's just not afraid to just buy in, go all comic book.
And lately it's been pretty movie-like too, a lot of sad moments and just drawn out pieces of acting. I don't know, it feels like a movie right now.
Yeah, I mean
what's that?
Even all the parts of Flash seem to connect better. Each episode of Arrow seems very distinct from the next
Yeah.
right now. And I'm not sure if they're doing that on purpose or why, or if they're trying to kind of like buy time for like a finale. Because I think they're coming up to the end of their seasons, I'm guessing, in the next month or so.
And then the Flash, like every now and then you get these like wonderful CGI moments of the Flash.
Oh my god, the train one is still the best.
Yeah, that gives you kind of a clue to what the movies are going to do.
Yeah, I mean, like,
we've seen Superman and Man of Steel
yeah.
do crazy fast things. So yeah, like this show is doing a really good job of that.
On a television show budget, what they're able to do with like the Flash is the problem. Okay, but this is the problem with Flash as a character, is that like his abilities are always like different, right? So sometimes he can go super fast and not. Like for instance, like in the last episode, there's a character who really wants a pizza, right? And so he goes to get a pizza, and he's like, and he's there. He goes and he's back with the pizza, like they cooked it already or something, or he stole this pizza. Like it literally was like he would have been going so fast that like when he was fighting like the yellow, like the man in the yellow, right? Like it wouldn't even been a problem. But I understand why they do it, because it's like makes for good television.
It makes for good television. It's for like the audience that don't really care too much about the cool parts.
Also, the thing that people mistake about the Flash is like, yeah, he can go that fast, but just like a regular person, you can run at a certain speed. That doesn't mean you can always run at that speed.
Yeah,
I guess that's true.
And they have to slow down those moments for him to talk at our speed, so we can understand what he's doing as he's fighting somebody. But realistically, if we're on the outside of that, it was a snap of the fingers what he was doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they don't always convey that time properly, because that's very hard to do.
It's hard to do.
Especially in a show where all these different things are happening all the time. In a movie, you can write that this person's doing this while he does this, and it's very concise and accurate.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand why they do it and how it does create inconsistencies in like Flash's abilities, even though, like I said, that's an issue in the comic books, and they've been doing comic books for like 40 years or longer. Right. So, like 60, 70 years. So.
And then just with the prospect of, Arrow and Flash and the Atom being introduced. And
what did you think of that, by the way?
Like, man, they make a CW Justice League show.
Absolutely.
With those characters. And Arrow is the Batman of it. You know what I mean? Like, just do that. Atom's in it.
What did you think of Firestorm, Jeremy?
The Atom and Firestorm, yeah. Firestorm, I haven't seen the latest episode yet, but...
So, like, from last week? Because there's one today.
Well, I saw the one where they got separated.
Yeah. Okay, so the one where, like, the next one where they go back together, spoilers, they kind of master their abilities. Really cool. Like, what they're able to do. They haven't started talking about, like, his ability to, like, change matter and stuff like that. I'm not really sure how that works, because I'm not really up with, like, how Firestorm's abilities work. Mm-hmm. But they're, like... It got really, really cool. And, like, the guy who plays like the old scientist has a larger role, and I thought he was really good. So
yeah, he's a good Canadian actor. That guy.
So I think that unless you guys have anything else you guys want to mention. No. All right then. That's episode 50 of the Tower of Babble podcast. This one was live. All of our next ones will be live.
No one
no one. Hey, don't spoil it. Okay. Make sure if you want to listen to us live, you don't have to. That's cool. At Tower Babblecast on Twitter, that's your best place to find it. That's where I'm gonna place all the information you need about when and where to tune in. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, because that's where we do all of our live podcasts. YouTube.com/Tower of Babblecast. So the difference from the other one is that there's an of in there. I tried to change it, but it's too late. So. Join us again in, I guess, 2 weeks. We'll be doing this again live. That's the plan. We're excited for all the shows, all the stuff that we're talking about to continue. That's awesome. We always love talking about it. And I'm sure there'll be some great more news on all those fronts. So until then, we will talk to you. We'll talk to you then. Okay.
We were so sporadic this episode.
We always are like that, though.
Like jumping around.
I've been listening to just game podcasts and the comp podcast and movie podcast. It's so much more refreshing when you just hear the one subject matter. You know what you're in for. Here we jump around so much.
Oh, we could do more, but it just takes more work.
But it's like you have to commit. Now we're jumping
more.
into the Oscars segment of the show. Then we just focus only on Oscars and try not to go around about something else.
Oh, we used to do that. Remember, I used to break it up into games, movies.
No, I know,
television.
But it was like episodes where we talked for something for a long time. We're like, okay, we're gonna break that out of it. But like, yeah, I know what you mean by that too. But like, we have to really adhere to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean,
in the show notes, you kind of have to make your own kind of screenplay. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, it's.
For this.
Have you seen this? Have you seen my show notes? I mean, they're not like it's not easy doing this. It takes probably about a good solid at least 2 hours. You just sit there. You have to go through the news, pick what's important.
I guess so. But like, well, you have 2 weeks though, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I know, but I'd go 2 weeks. You say that, but like I could start tomorrow, but there would only be one story to put in there. You know, like, you know what I mean? I have to wait for 2 weeks of news to happen.
You kind of save the stories, like the IGN app. You can save stories.
Yeah, that's how I do it. I save those, and then I
then
go
once
through
they're all
those. And find the
saved,
ones.
you go through all, and then you group the ones together, and then you choose the order of the groups.
Please, thank you. That's exactly what I do already.
So why does that take 2 hours?
Because it's not as easy as just looking at your phone and saying this is what it's like. You need to be able to put it down. The fact. Some of our best shows are the ones where we don't actually do any, like, I only be able to kind of like throw together like 5 stories and then we just kind of improvise everything.
Yeah, I mean that I like it like that. I like it organic
like it
like that, but it depends on the subject.
I'm just saying
it's not always
from what I'm listening to, and I was listening to this, I'm like, okay, they're talking about comic book now, they're talking about TV show.
Well, you can't like say that if you like go back and listen to the episode. Like having come off of the episode, it does feel like that, but it doesn't always translate that way.
No, but I'm saying from what I listened to, I like
other
up
podcasts.
getting it myself into.
Yeah.
And I don't like it when they.
And
go
we
to
have
this,
like a
this,
very like we have a structure. It's just not very.
It's very loose structure.
Yeah.
Well, what do
guys
we
on
do?
YouTube, like kind of funny and stuff. They have their games part, and they have their reacts part, which is so they can. Like, it's called kind of funny reacts. So
When something
instead of
happens.
saving that for 2 weeks later, they record it as soon as they can and upload it to get their views, right? Because like if people like us, they want to know what we have to say on the subject right away. But we can't. We just wait. We just rehashed old news from 2 weeks ago, and who would care about that?
I guess.
Well, I mean, but we're not seeing things. We're not just telling people the news, right? It's not like
No. We're discussing the news, but
They want like fresh.
We're also doing it for ourselves because we want to talk to each other about what we think about things.
Yeah, exactly. That's
that's
the conversation we're having about with Dan about like, what do you do it for other people or for yourself? It's both for us, but like. Right now, it's very much just for ourselves, because...
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just talking about in terms of what I've seen, like the business side of it, how people want their content, how I want mine. I want it separated. I want it as soon as possible when things happen. Like, I go on the internet, I go on Twitter, go on whatever, and I go for the guys like Greg Miller. I want to know what he has to say.
Exactly.
On the order 18 days, 60 in 5 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. And
that's what I want.
I would love to do that, Jeremy. I would love to, but that takes so much... It's a lot of work.
No, I know.
But, I mean,
I'm not saying we're going there yet. I'm just saying right now, the best option we can do is just separate into proper segments.
Yeah, and then I can put them out.
Well, let's try that next time, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, like we could
Try to like stick to it more.
Yeah, and then we could do easy transitions from one to the other.
Even
on break them out.
I know this would be harder too, but then once you break them out, I know you make them separate podcasts every now and then, one full one. Yeah. Just kind of funny guys do. But on YouTube, every one of those should be broken up too, right? Like, hey, this one we talked about video games.
Yes.
This is what I talked about.
So you have a bunch of like 20-minute segments.
Yeah, because when I watch videos, I go to like the kind of funny guys. They're doing it the best. Like I go there, they have a 10-minute video, 15-minute video, and it's like this coolest subject, and I want to hear what they're talking about. I want to know what they're saying. You know, I don't want to listen for 30 minutes or an hour. I want bite-sized 10-minute, 5
It's hard to say though, because I talk to people that listen to podcasts and they like the long, like 3-hour podcasts.
Though, I'm talking about YouTube. YouTube is,
I guess, yeah.
That's like the best place to go.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to put stuff on YouTube. I would, if you guys could do some of the work. If I could give you the audio file, and you guys did like a quick video of it, where you just put like pictures on in front of it, and then threw that up on YouTube.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I don't think we're doing that right away, but like,
no, but that would be that's another way of just like of making an interesting video. Like if you had, let's say like we had like our 20-minute video, and you just had us talking over like pictures of what we're talking about, and it's not easy by any means. That takes time. Yeah. But then you put that up, and then that's one of those things that actually gets views, and then you just it kind of spirals if you can get the views for one small thing. And boom, 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 boom. You know.
The initial way to get noticed and get viewership isn't by just talking about your opinions on the news events. Everyone does. People wait for us to do that. So, what we initially did with this podcast, we would talk about things that were interesting to us and what we know about. You know what I mean? But we don't really do it all the time. We can't. We can't
always do it. Yeah, because it's not always topical.
And I remember the first thing I thought about was like comparing Green Lantern to Star Wars.
Yeah, that's the one I always come back to. Yeah.
At 20 Road, you're talking about, right? That's what I want to talk about. Cool things like that. Things that we have so much knowledge on that we can just and like Julian said, like the drop knowledge segment, just pick something to talk about. But like that's what we need to bring to the table is things that we know so much about and just discuss them thoroughly. And then people who like those things, they'll search them out and they might find us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of every 2 weeks, we just run down the news stories and talk about how we think about them. We have to throw in ourselves in these things too.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Care about.
I mean, if you have ideas, like obviously, I think about this stuff all the time. If you have ideas,
questions and subjects, but like, I don't know, man. It just.
I would say it doesn't. If you have thoughts like that, it doesn't hurt to just throw it on the. Like we should have like on the drop, where you have like a conversation, you know, and then we can talk about what we're gonna put into the next episode. Yeah. So if you have any ideas like that, just throw it up there, and then we can talk about it.
You know, I'll make it right now.
Yeah. Well, there should be a 20-minute video of you discussing your opinion on Game of Thrones show coming out before the books. You should be talking for 20 minutes.
I could talk for much longer.
I know, 20 minutes about that bullshit. You should be, from your knowledge, your extensive knowledge, your
I mean, we already do. Our Game of Thrones podcast is easily the most popular thing we do. It's like,
and that's something that we should try something that everybody
cares about. That's something that everybody cares about, and Dan has extensive knowledge of the subject.
And it's right in line with the show, so it's already topical. It's already people looking for it non-stop. You don't have to. It doesn't take long.
That's where we can get people is when you specifically are talking about that stuff. Bring what you think about the world, because then they're like, "Holy shit, this guy knows what he's talking about." You know what I mean?
I would like to do sort of a prequel, well, not prequel, but like a pre-season talk about Game of Thrones.
Sure. Well,
just like recap where we are, and then talk about like it's hard to do though because I don't want to spoil anything, right? Like I don't want you guys to be like, well, like you know, what are your guesses about where the season's going to go? And then I can't really answer any of that. You know what I mean?
No, I know we don't spoil stuff. That's key.
You can do your own thing. You record your own self talking. You know, like questions.
Yeah,
but we don't get any questions.
Yeah,
well, fake it though. Be like,
I could have.
We'll get like Joey's little sister to send some questions in or something.
Or you just look for questions if people have message boards.
Yeah.
Or you go on a message board and you propose questions, or you propose people to ask you questions, and then you use those, and then you talk on the mic for yourself, and you just talk about the subject.
Okay, so I called it Thoughts. Jeremy, have you even been on the drive? Do you even know how to access it?
Oh, I don't know how to access anything.
Why can't you?
Google account, like Gmail?
Yeah. I don't know how to.
I'm invited. You're for sure invited. It's not even.
I can get into the
when you go to Google, just go to Google Drive instead of Gmail, and then log in the same way you would to Gmail, and it should all be there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just call it Thoughts on Top. It's in a Tower of Babble folder. If you're shared, I'm almost positive you're shared.
It's in its own folder.
Yeah, well, it's good. Well, I mean, no, it's in. It'll just be in with all the rest of the stuff. But I should put it probably in its own folder.
Okay.
Should I put it in its own folder?
Because there's a couple folders on there. There should be one for Game of Thrones as well. It's all kind of all over the place.
Yeah, well, it's because I don't have time to organize it. But like, I could put old. I should put like there's literally 50 show notes almost. A little bit less than that because I didn't have enough for all of them. But like,
that's weird.
I should probably just throw some in.
There's 2 of episode 33. I noticed that today.
I mean, one was probably episode 34, and I just forgot that we already did 33, and I just typed it up like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that we've done 50 shows, we didn't even talk about that. It's a milestone.
Yeah.
Or half a milestone.
Practice though.
At this point,
I feel like there's gonna be a day where we should just go back to 0.
And relaunch it something else.
It depends on the.
No, it can be the same name. We just we can take down all these fucking episodes.
Release them as special features.
Keep them if you want, and you know what I mean. Like, but I don't know.
I don't think so.
It's gonna determine it.
I think that's not a good idea.
Because the ideas I'm talking about, we start implementing them, and we get people looking for you for what you know. We're looking for me.
It's hard to plan around that, though.
No, but I think that's fine. But you don't have to take down what we have already.
I'm looking at it as a business, but we're not fully invested into that. Like these guys that I follow, like Craig.
Yeah, well, none of us can be, right?
No, I know, but like we can still infuse our personality to be a little bit better.
Yeah. Yes, we should.
And like the Game of Thrones scene, since it is popular and people love that shit. You need to start talking more about that stuff. You know what I mean? Writing more about it.
Well, I thought I wasn't supposed to talk about Game of Thrones because I don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it. You can, Dana. What you can do,
you
can write something and just say that there's spoilers in it, and then if people don't have to read it, they don't.
We're talking about this place in Game of Thrones and like what I think is going to happen over here. This could play a crucial part. Like nerds will fucking like.
I mean,
gush over that.
The truth is that people who read the books do read that stuff. Like, who read the books, they read that speculation all the time. So like if you wrote or did like you said a 20-minute video or whatever of just what you thought for something that is spoiler only for book people, it would just be you because I don't know any of that stuff, you know. That is something people want to know, and then the book people want to listen to that, and then we could do our regular show for both, you know.
And then videos with pictures overlaying and maps and this, but this is a huge undertaking.
It's why you need a fourth person whose their only job is editing and putting stuff together.
But let's say I write like an essay on Green Lantern and Star Wars, and then I make a video with clips and pictures and sounds and cool funny things every now and then, and like it's a video on YouTube. It's like Green Lantern and Star Wars, like maybe some trash. Like, what is this person talking about? Green Lantern and Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Things like that.
It's hard to find something that stands
out. Things that are out of the ordinary.
Well, like I wrote that.
I think we should all need to find those things more. Julian, you've done more than either of us with that kind of stuff.
I wrote that American Redemption.
That's a good one right there.
And I should have done a video on it.
It's like conventions. Like, there aren't a lot of people that will make those same comparisons, so it's something that's going to stand out.
I had a guy made one comment. Listen, I figure for every one comment, there's probably at least another 10 people who read it and didn't leave a comment. So there's at least 10 people who wrote it, who read it. And then he's like, yeah, I thought the same thing. I'm like, or what? I think that's what he said. I can find it on the comment. He's like, yeah, man, I thought the same thing when I saw it. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Or so, it was along those lines. I mean, yeah, more content. Like that's the key. Is just more content more often. We can record if we were able to record more often. We could do more stuff that was more topical, but we only we would try to do once a week, but it was really hard.
It is. I know.
Even once a week is hard, you know. Like if you try to imagine doing more than once a week. Comments. Let's see what did the guy say. I was thinking the exact same thing after watching American Sniper. Glad I'm not the only one. Yeah. So yeah. What do you guys like our website? Do you think it should be different?
No, I really like it.
It's very gray. I just noticed how gray it was. It's super gray. It needs more color.
But you don't want to make it too colorful, right? Like
it's just something to pop.
Of all
the only thing that pops is the red on our logo. That's the only thing.
I don't know.
But I mean, whatever. And the pictures on the site, they have color in them, obviously. So,
yeah.
Imagine if it was black and white photos. The worst website ever. Yeah. And I mean, I pay for this thing. You guys don't even pay for this thing.
How much is it?
It's like $70 a year or something. It's not very much.
We split the first year, didn't we?
No, we just split the microphone.
I thought it was all together.
No, it was just the microphone. But that's not. Again, it's not we needed the microphone anyway. That was literally the most important thing we could have bought.
What else? Like capture cards?
So you just heard that term one time, you know?
No, a bunch of the guys that I work with, I've done stuff with them as well. But we did Let's Plays.
Why are these guys doing this though?
They don't even release it.
They just haven't been doing it as long as us. We have a YouTube channel. None of it's up yet. None of it's up and running. It's like
tell them to just come under our umbrella and use our name.
I'm kind of thinking that we'll just pull everything to Tower of Babble and then we'll be a conglomerate. We'll have a bunch of stuff. But we'll see about that. I told these guys we're gonna record a bunch of stuff fine and just not put it up for a while so we have a bunch of backups because we can't I've done 2 with them, you know. We recorded taking turns playing Alien and there's 4 of us talking, one person with a controller, and we're all just, and it actually went fairly well.
Yeah, but Alien is, you need to do
everybody's doing that
mind share though.
Yeah.
And Alien is not. It's slowly going away from the mind share thing.
Yeah, so you have to release that when it's out. Otherwise, it doesn't really work.
It's all about more content and the right timing. That's
the timing is tough. Because and now Evolve is out, and a ton of people are going to be doing those.
Mm-hmm.
I almost bought it the other day, but then I was like,
I feel like it's really good if you have a lot of friends playing this.
Well, that's the thing. It's all about cooperative multiplayer. I would like to buy it, but I'm thinking about waiting until it gets discounted to a degree.
We need to make. So I'm looking at our YouTube channel. It's pretty barren. There's not much going on here. I mean, we have lots of videos. We have I think over 50 videos or something like that. But it's all just our audio stuff with a picture over top. It looks way more exciting than it is.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch that shit.
No, I know. So like it's like there's a bunch of stuff. It's like, well, you need a trailer for what your channel is, so people know what it is, and like what like a welcome trailer, and like all this stuff that I don't have, that we don't like, captivate your audience. Thumbnail helps create your new blah blah blah. All this stuff, like I don't. Someone want to just take over the YouTube stuff and then just do all that stuff, and then all I have to do is upload stuff to it and like just finish it.
Make a trailer and make it
Well,
look.
if you need like any of the like the logos and all that stuff, I can send them to you.
Put all that stuff on the drive. I can take a look at it. I'm good at that kind of stuff, but I can try.
Okay, I'll put it. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I have a lot of this. Okay,
Yeah, put all the logos. I mean, either way, they should be on the drive. So if either of us get the inclination to do that kind of stuff, we have that available.
Yeah,
but I'll try. I have no idea. I'm not good at technology stuff though.
It just takes some practice. Like I didn't know how to do any of this shit before we started. I know.
And then
how to edit.
First, I wanted to film comic books to make them like videos of comics, so people don't read them. They'll get into that, and like I don't know how that works with copyright infringement or.
The thing is, I think at first, if we're not making money,
Fair
it
use.
should be okay, right? Like
if you're talking about it, like if it's like a review or like you're talking about it like in different contexts, it's under fair use and they can't sue you over it.
But you can't just say this is this comic and then go. You have to actually talk about it yourself.
Yeah, otherwise,
and
then
otherwise you're just taking their content and using it.
Okay. So yeah, that's like I said. Like I want to film the actual pages in a cool, interesting way with like.
Which you can do parts of a comic.
Sound effects. So like there's a sound effect of a window crashing. It's very quiet when it happens. Then the Joker laughs. You see the ha ha ha. You hear kind of a ha 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 in the background, and there's like. And then music from these movies or comic bookies and music, and it's like, hey, like Batman Batman Year One, like a segment of that or something, get people into comic books.
If it's just segments, then you can do that but then you just have to splice it with your kind of like, this is what this means to me, or like look at the colors here. Like I remember you talking about some of the art in one of the Green Lantern ones, all the colors all over the place, right?
Now just pop.
If you could talk about that and then do that too, like you're shooting it the entire time.
If you just use a portion, if you did a portion of the comic and not the whole thing, and then explain what you're doing,
that's what I'll have to do.
To tell your story, not their story.
So I want to get like a really good camera that really captures like.
Well, if you get a really good camera, then you can do video content as well, and that's
like just to capture like the quality of the pages and the color that pops out, and then just like film it in a cool, interesting way with slow movements and
get
sound.
One of those DSLRs.
That's what
they take.
Like,
they take really cool video.
I don't think the quality's not as good as some of them these days. Like
start with that.
Yeah, I know for sure.
Like but how cool! Like you can start doing video stuff, and video is the way to go, right? And all we do is audio right now, but like more stuff. That's all we need is just more.
And it's like we could have like film ourselves talking about this piece I'm going to present. It's like this is where we finally learned about this character doing this, and pay attention to the way he does this or this, and then then I film the comic book in this crucial scene.
And you film it so that they
with sound effects.
Focus the attention where you want.
No one films comic books with sound and music and sound effects. Nobody does that. We have motion comics released every now and then, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, go check on the drive now. It should be, if you go look at the folders.
Okay, 1 second.
Go to. I need to check who's like.
Like remember, like I'll start with the PS3 here, like with the photos.
Under TOB copy, I think that's what they call it. Banner and logo. That's what and then under there, it's not. Oh, nothing's loaded yet. It still needs to sync. But that's where you'll find it. TOB copy, banner and logo.
Okay, I know exactly. I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Jeremy has no idea where that is. Why can't you just know how to use this kind of stuff, Jeremy?
Because
I remember doing this. I remember like
so I'm not gonna do it
this.
like video digital. But like, imagine me filming the page and like read it and go.
Well, that it's better that way. It feels like that texture. You
read it yourself. So we have to time things to where you can read it yourself and then move over like this.
See, that's tough. And then like you were talking when we first talked about this about producing the music yourself. Like you would be able to time it and stuff.
I would start with something small like this, and like because I wouldn't have to film the whole page. I'd film Like just
I guess that just comes down to editing because
absolutely all editing. And you go this, and the sound pops up, like a hand comes through. You see the word bubble, then we give you time to read it. Then we move on to the next thing.
Yeah,
and it's like you focus on the hand over here maybe more, and then you scroll, you zoom out and go back to here. You read it.
Well, I mean, I remember when we started doing this, it was amazing how much the music did sync up.
Yeah, like when you flip this,
like without any editing, right? Like, so with a little bit of editing, it can probably go a long way.
And here it's like you film him here, right? And you can reveal everything like film.
Yeah,
so natural. Like,
it's got pieces of both, yeah.
Right, but I don't want to do just digitally. Like I could take all these images. Yeah, and I could do it with that. I think I might because it might be cooler looking. But I want to get the actual grain of the paper,
exactly, the texture,
the curvature of it,
the feel.
Yeah, but this might be the easiest way to do it to really harness what I want to capture.
Maybe. But no, you know how to use a camera. Like you could probably do a better job too.
I feel like it might look amateurish almost. I think it's got to be the right lighting.
Yeah.
Like these, we have HD pics of everything, and on the editing software, I can focus on whatever I want. I can flip like this really quick, or you know what I mean. Like imagine somber moments where like they're talking right now, like since the beginning, you know, like slowly moving with this song, like little bite-sized clips, and I set it up with what these people are doing, what they're trying to achieve. Okay, that's this week's one, next week's one, you know. If I explain why the manhunters went crazy or something, like just like crazy minutia things, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
things no one